Justin Mary. Kicking tonight from Wildcats number 38, Heath Mosley.
Good evening, everyone, from Dobie Holden Stadium on the campus of Pearl River Community College in Poplarville, Mississippi. It's time for football from the toughest league in America, the MACJC, as the Pearl River Wildcats open the 2018 junior college football campaign against the Itawamba Indians, a team that has had their number. Itawamba has won 2 games in a row in this series, but the Wildcats come in after a rejuvenating 5-4 season last year, only to open up against 2 of the top teams in the North from last season. Itawamba and East Mississippi come to Dobie Holden back-to-back weekends. Good evening, everyone. It's time for the Pawpaws Campers and Cars pregame show. Pawpaws Campers and Cars, the #1 retailer of recreational vehicles in the state of Mississippi. I'm Kelly Sanner, along with color analyst Captain D. David Sutton, as we begin our 4th season together, David, here in the Pearl River broadcast booth. The Wildcats come in with experience in certain positions, but where it counts on the line of scrimmage on both offensive and defensive sides of the ball, Ted Egger says his team is inexperienced. However, that being said, he feels more comfortable with where his team is heading into this campaign as opposed to last year. Kind of odd.
Well, remember last year, a lot of us are quick to forget that it was kind of a pinball machine way that Coach Ted Egger ended up being the head coach. There was a lot of turmoil in the offseason all the way into the summer of last year before the Pearl River Wildcats ended up settling on Coach Ted Egger. So really, although the defensive coordinator of the team being thrust into the head coaching position, I tell you what, it's one of those things that sometimes you catch a break. And the Pearl River athletic program in general caught a big break by having Ted Egger on this staff because he was ready to jump into the role of head coach. And let me tell you, it didn't take us very long after a game or two to realize, man, this guy is the right guy for the job. And Kelly, I'll tell you, the 2 biggest games of the year last year for Pearl River were the first game and the last game. You remember our discussion with Coach Ted Egger before last year. He was adamant that that first win, that first game was so important. They got it. And then that last game, the emotion that they showed over at Colin, getting that victory, a winning season, their first one. Kelly, the Pearl River Wildcat football program, for some of those don't know, if you've just been following them recently, this team was perennially in the playoffs, perennially a state championship contender. They've got national championship banners hanging here. Last year, only the 2nd winning season in a decade, but that is hopefully the first of many. I think absolutely. I asked Coach Ted Egger the last question we talked to him about in our pregame discussion. I said, honestly, Coach, what do you expect out of tonight's game? And he had 2 words: to win. And that's all he said, to win.
Well, you never get a second chance to make a first impression, and even though this is a non-region game, as it were, when you look at that South Division, when you've got Jones, highly heralded, Colin has 5 Division I commits across the defensive front. Their defensive coordinator is the former head coach here, William Jones. Mississippi Gulf Coast is always among the elite in the league, so that division that Pearl River sits in the MACJC is always going to be tough. This will be a good indicator as to where both of these teams stand. Glad that you're with us on prccmedia.com. You see the coin toss has taken place at center stage, even though it's the 50-yard line here in the football field, and the Wildcats and Itawamba Indians getting ready to tee it up tonight. The Wildcats won the toss but have deferred the choice to the second half, so referee Robert Eakins and his staff will have this one under control. The game was supposed to start at 6 o'clock, but we had a brief but pretty strong thunderstorm come through here about 5:20 or so, which we knew after the strength of that thunderstorm that this was going to push this one back. But we are all systems go in this one. The Wildcats have been hitting each other for a while. It's time to hit somebody else. And, of course, the same can be said of the Indians, who have had a long road trip today to get here. But, again, I want to go back, David, to the offensive and defensive lines where the game is usually won on the line of scrimmage. Not very much experience for Pearl River, but even so, Ted Egger pretty comfortable with his personnel going into game one.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is that it's junior college, and you're going to have turnover. I mean, you don't get to keep kids for 4 years. 3 is maximum if you redshirt. And I think offensively, you could tell by the way that he kind of hedged his bet a little bit on the answer. That's probably where he has the most question marks. Only 2 returning starters, but actually, Kelly, one of those only started 2 ball games last year. So really only 1 full-time returner on the offensive line. Like you said, though, he says he feels, although inexperienced as far as reps on the junior college level wise on the defensive line, he feels that they're better actually on the defensive line going into this game. And at the skill position, simply put, he thinks he's got 2 very productive returners in the form of Ron Thompson and Jesse Purnell coming back at running back. And he thinks absolutely wide receiver-wise, more athletic, more speed, more chances at downhill shots, down the field shots this year. He thinks he's more talented at the wide receiver position as well. And, of course, we can't overlook the quarterback position because obviously that's the engine that makes the entire offense go. Cooper Callus is going to be the guy. He's a Missouri train. He comes in from Missouri. He's accurate. He's a good leader. And Coach Eggert says he really feels that this is a smart guy who's going to lead this offense. But we should also see Tavis Williams as well, a guy who can run the ball well. But he even said, he goes, you know what? His arm's improved a whole lot. So look to see both quarterbacks get action tonight.
I got to see Tavis Williams play 2 years, his final 2 years down at Harrison Central, as I call the Red Rebel games for a couple of seasons, and he is the real deal athletically. But as the gray clouds have kind of moved out temporarily here in Poplarville, one gray cloud has followed Pearl River quarterbacks for the past 3 years, and that's who's ever started at that quarterback position has gone down in game 1 with season-ending injuries. Every toe and finger crossed tonight in Pearl River land that does not happen to either Wildcat starter here tonight. It's been remarkable how that has just been. Yeah,
I honestly think 5 quarters is actually the longest any quarterback has made it in the last 3 years. I mean, when you have your starting quarterback who you've got everything riding on. I mean, look, the starter's the starter for a reason. Remember last year, Markevian Quinn came in and did a remarkable job coming on in relief in the second quarter of game 2. He ends up throwing for 1,000 yards, running for 1,000 yards. But Coach Ted Eggert said, yeah, we had Markevian last year, but he was second string for a reason. You know, there was a reason coming out of the camp and coming into the first game of the season that he had him as the number 2 guy. He just, when he got his chance to shine, he did. You never know what you're going to get, though, with the number 2 guy. But the bottom line is, Coach Eggert and his staff would love just, hey, can we just have health at the quarterback position? Any team that can keep their quarterback upright and healthy usually has a good chance at a really good season.
Justin Agner was that quarterback that you mentioned last year that went down early, and Markevian Quinn did such a remarkable job for the River last year that he got an invitation to play at the University of Memphis, and he went ahead and went on to the University of Memphis, where he will suit up for the Tigers as the Division I college football season begins this Saturday. The offensive line that we talked about for Pearl River will be anchored by a couple of kids from the Oak Grove area. Kylan Carter, a freshman, and his former teammate Donald Kinchin for Oak Grove. Now here at Pearl River, they'll be on that offensive line trying to block for the likes of Ron Thompson, who is one of the players that still remains out of the old Bassfield High School.
That's right. Well, and Thompson, he's like a little bowling ball out there. I mean, Thompson he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run the ball with authority. 5'8", 195 is the listed weight, but you basically have a kid who's probably more like 5'7", 210. I mean, and hey, sometimes, when you're talking about the next level, maybe that size might be something where some coaches may pass on him. But we asked Coach Eggert about that before the game, and he says, let me tell you, if I was at the next level, I'd take him, number 1, because I know what kind of kid he is. Number 1, look, character. Ron Thompson's character is fantastic, but his performance as well, multi-talented, running, catching the ball, but also when you're that low to the ground, Kelly, tough to bring down. You got to get low as a defensive back. That's why you see him roll over and bounce off a whole lot of tackles.
Jesse Purnell, the other is running back teammate in the backfield from Poplarville High School, right here down the road. We'll have our national anthem and then get ready to kick this one off tonight here from Dobie Holden. See football action as the Pearl River Wildcats get ready to entertain the Itawamba Indians. Other games on the Mac Jack scoreboard tonight include East Central playing at Northwest. It'll be Coahoma playing at Jones. Hines is at East Mississippi. Of course, East Mississippi, Last Chance U, will come in here next week. Mississippi Delta at Gulf Coast, which is quite a hump. But the biggest drive of the day belongs to Northeast, where the Tigers play Southwest in Summit. We'll be keeping you up to date. All of these games on the Anderson's Design Center scoreboard coming up throughout the webcast tonight. Coming up at halftime on the Hardee's Halftime Show, we'll be talking with Pearl River Athletic Director Jeff Long about all the improvements, including this Megatron scoreboard they've got here at Dobie Holden. Improvements at Dub Herring Park, the baseball field right over here to our left. So many exciting things going on campus, including the addition of a new sports team. The women's volleyball team will be on campus starting next year. So volleyball coming to Pearl River Community College. Kelly Sander along with David Sutton after a thunderstorm has come through. The field is bound to be a little bit soggy, but the guys are ready to go here. And again, Pearl River will kick it off. We talked about the inexperience in the offensive and defensive line, but one area that Coach Ted Egger says his team is really ready to rock and roll in is the wide receiver position. And there will be some Oak Grove flavor there, as well as the sophomore Dwayne Lee will be one of the targets. And one of the young superstars on this Pearl River team is Savaris Snow, the freshman out of Newton. He will do some returns for Pearl River as well, both punting and kickoff returns, and he is a dynamic young football player. So it'll be fun to watch Savaris Snow play. Ready to get underway here from Dobie Holden tonight. Kicking it off for Pearl River will be one of the young kickers. This is Heath Mosley, the freshman out of Wayne County High School. He will get the indication and approach the football. We are officially underway for 2018. It's a low line squibber that's fielded at the 5-yard line, starting right up the middle, then coming to the near side of the field, looking for some room there. It's Cortez Davis, the sophomore out of Flowery Branch High School in Flowery Branch, Georgia. Gets out of bounds at the 38-yard line, a decent return for the Indians, and they will set up shop 1st and 10 under the leadership of Spencer Unruh, the sophomore quarterback out of Caledonia High School. Unruh, spelled U-N-R-U-H, but pronounced Unruh. 1st and 10 for the Indians, working from north to south as it's laid out here at Dobie Holden. Glad that you're with us here on 1st and 10. This Pearl River defense gets to work with a 3-down lineman alignment with Unruh in the backfield with a running back split to his left. Twin receivers to the far side of the field on 1st down. It's a perfect snap. Give and go right straight ahead. They try the right side. Nothing doing. Sniffing out the play is Reggie Williams, the sophomore linebacker out of Hattiesburg High. Got maybe 1.5 yards on the play, depending on the spot. They'll call it 1 yard. 2nd down and 9 to go. Williams out of Hattiesburg, that Hattiesburg Tiger team, among the very best teams in the state, especially in the 5A classification this year. 2nd down and 9, just underway. Unruh surveys the defense, asks for the football. It's a bad snap. Unruh will have to go down, evades one tackler, rolls to the sideline, and then throws the pass, and it's caught at the 48-yard line. Boy, Spencer Unruh did a great job to get the pass out to Jamel Thomas, the sophomore wide receiver, his old high school teammate at Caledonia, making something out of nothing. That's an Itawamba 1st down.
I think that the wet conditions caused that, Kelly. I don't think the snap was all that bad, but it went right through Unruh's hands. But what a job of keeping your composure. Not only does he go back and scoop it up, he was under pressure, Kelly. Makes a perfect throw and a great catch made on the slide by Thompson.
Deshaun Dinkins in the backfield for the Indians. Can't find anybody to throw to. Now Unruh sets, throws to the corner by the end zone. That pass is incomplete down at about the 4-yard line. The intended receiver down there was Cedric Bradford, the wide receiver out of Northridge, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Brings up a 2nd down and 10. It looked for a moment that he had made that grab, but incomplete, stopping the clock with 13:37 left to go here in the 1st quarter.
Well, Kelly, there's no such thing anymore as the where would you have come down rule. Remember that rule that used to be? And a great job. It looked like Eli Stringfellow. He was beat, Kelly, beat on the play, but when the receiver went up to make the catch, Stringfellow was able to actually shove him just enough, whereas Cleek couldn't come down in bounds. Nice defensive play, avoiding a huge game.
Eli Stringfellow, the freshman cornerback from Meridian High School. So he Goes from a Meridian Wildcat to a Pearl River Wildcat. 2nd and 10. Handoff up the middle, looking for some running room there is Deshaun Dinkins. Nothing in the middle, so he gets to the outside and rambles down to the 30-yard line before he was tackled by Savaris Snow, that freshman defensive back we talked about out of Newton. It's another first down. The Indians moving on the first series of the game against Pearl River. 1st and 10 at the Wildcat 30.
Well, Coach Eggert is actually the defensive coordinator, and that'll make him grind his teeth a little bit because they had it. They had it bottled up at the line of scrimmage. Dinkins able to get out of a couple of tackles, picks up 16 after being touched twice at the line.
Here comes the blitz. Throw down the sideline. Man-to-man coverage is incomplete. Incomplete. On the coverage there was Snow again. So obviously Itawamba wanting to go to work on the freshman defensive back Snow. The intended receiver there was Jamel Thomas. Brings up a 2nd down and 10, but he was really being rushed from the far side of the field.
Well, that was a nice job, though, by Snow, Kelly. I mean, he was with him step for step, and how many times do you see that over-the-shoulder pass by the quarterback end up being where the defender gets a pass interference call? He was able to avoid the contact, cause the incompletion, and get it down to 2nd and 10.
Spencer Unruh, the sophomore quarterback, 6'4", 198 pounds, as we mentioned, out of Caledonia. 2nd and 10, asks for the football. Pearl River looks like it's jumping a little bit. A staggered count, but we've got a delay of game against the Indians. Took too much time.
Lost track of the clock and tried to do the hard count when they really should have called for the football right there, and that's a free 5 for Pearl River. Now they've got Itawamba behind the sticks for the first time in this possession. They're down in the scoring zone. This is really where, if you're going to keep them off the scoreboard, you got to stop them here on the next 2 plays.
This is the beginning of the MAC-JC football season, the end of the NFL preseason. Tonight, all the NFL teams playing tonight. Here comes the blitz. Unruh under pressure and throws the ball, nearly intercepted. Kind of there in his own defense for Pearl River was Janarius Johnson, the freshman out of Gulfport, who Ted Egger likes a lot.
Boy, and Reggie Williams just came through the line. I think that was supposed to be a screen, but when you have a linebacker get in that fast, you're not supposed to let him through that much. At least chip him a little bit, but Reggie Williams did everything he could to disrupt that play. It's 3rd and long.
And 15 to be precise. Split to the left side is Hiram Wadlington, the freshman running back out of Oxford. He was a Charger in high school, now at Itawamba on 3rd and 15 from the near hash mark. Unruh with the snap, looks down the field, can't find anybody, now wants to throw it across the middle. The ball is tipped and incomplete. It'll be considered an incomplete pass. Down he goes, and the Pearl River defense has held, and here comes Itawamba's punting unit.
Well, Unruh completed his first pass. Remember, though, that was on a broken scramble play. On the 4 other pass plays that were called, the Pearl River Wildcats up to the task as he threw 4 straight incompletions, and now the punting unit is on.
Hayden Franklin, the sophomore punter out of Pontotoc, to kick it away for the Indians. Puts that left foot into it. Not necessarily a great kick. The Wildcats call for a fair catch, and making that grab there is Stringfellow for Pearl River. So the Wildcats will set up shop 1st and 10 at the 19-yard line. And here you'll get to see the quarterback, the University of Missouri transfer Cooper Callus out of Jackson, Missouri, comes in to lead the way for the Wildcats as Ryan Trevathan, the offensive coordinator for Pearl River, huddles his troops. The Wildcats will work south to north, or right to left, if you will, on your radio dial.
Pearl River very fortunate. That was only a 17-yard punt, Kelly. I mean, that pooch kick is not as easy as it looks, because what happens is that the punter, not trying to hit it too far, will decelerate their leg. They'll slow it down as it comes up, and you almost saw it right there. The ball almost popped straight up in the air, a wobbler. Good job by Pearl River to not let the ball hit the ground and move any further. Again, when you have them punting from the 36, being at the 19 is about all you can ask for.
Well, if you're a golf fan, you'll notice, you'll kind of compare it to John Daly chipping. He can drive all day long, but not necessarily a good chipper. Pass out into the left flat, nothing doing there as Tyler Polk, the sophomore wide receiver out of St. Martin, had to actually turn around a little bit to make the catch and lost yardage on that play. A loss of about 5 on the play brings up a 2nd down and 15.
Yeah, the good news is Cooper Callus completed his first pass as a Wildcat. The bad news is that it went for a 5-yard loss.
Callus with Ron Thompson split to his left. Boy, when you look at Ron Thompson, the sturdily built Ron Thompson, those very strong calves, a power runner, even though he's not very tall. On 2nd and 15, Callus gets the football and hands it to Thompson. Tries the right side, can't find anything there. Maybe got a yard on the play. Making the tackle there for the Indians. Marvin Mills made the play. Also in there was B.J. Williams.
Boy, good job. Talk about that offensive line. We said it in the pregame show, a little inexperienced. Coach Eggert, that was the one where his voice seemed a little bit the least confident, let's say. And right there, they lost the battle up front as the defensive line really blew that play up.
3rd down and 15. Clock moving with 11:15 left to go here in the first quarter. Looking for our first score of the 2018 campaign. Callus, play action, wants to throw, does, on the sideline. The overthrown, the intended receiver there was Keontae Payton, a sophomore wide receiver out of Brandon. It'll be punt formation upcoming for the River Cats.
Boy, I tell you, on 3rd and 15, that was a really good look at it, Kelly, as Payton was open at the sticks. If the throw was on the mark, he was there and he was open, but he overthrew him a little bit, and I do believe that this wet field already, Kelly, look at where the majority of the plays in the early going on Pearl River side of the field, you're starting to see that brown come out. I think that it's going to be a factor throughout the entire ball game because of how heavy, although short, how heavy the rain fell during that thunderstorm.
The field is indeed scarred at about the 30-yard line, 35. So the kick is away by the freshman kicker Mosley. It kicks sideways out of bounds at about the 46. And so the Indians will get the football at their own 46-yard line. And the Wildcats really feel like they owe the Indians one, as Itawamba has had the Wildcats number. 10:57 left to go here in the first quarter. Second series of the game coming up. The Indians have it. Of course, Pearl River won the toss and deferred the choice to the second half. Again,
give Mosley a little credit right there, Kelly. His first punt as a junior college in deep, and he got a 40-yard punt with no return with a wet football. Nice job on his first punt as a Wildcat.
And it's that net that they look at, isn't it?
Yep.
The total of the punt and the return. Handoff up the middle, about a 5-yard gain there for LaDerrick Bell. Pushing forward there for Itawamba is Jacob Cunningham, that freshman offensive lineman from Louisville High School. A gain of 5, 2nd down and 5 for the Indians. And actually, LaDerrick Bell is in at quarterback now. Bell takes the high snap, now rolls, finds some room himself, almost had the ball stripped, gets away. Some poor tackling there by the Wildcats, lets him get loose inside the 40 down to about the 36-yard line. That'll move the chains as LaDerrick Bell showing his quarterbacking skills and his ability to move.
Coach Eggert in the pregame defensive meeting talked about when Bell got in, he likes to run it himself, and he's done so on the first 2 plays.
There's a handoff over at left tackle to Hiram Wadlington. Second time tonight we've mentioned his name. The running back out of Oxford gets about 7 on that play. 2nd down and 3 as the Indians working a form of a hurry-up offense here. Wadlington goes right back, split to the left of LaDerrick Bell. They give it to Wadlington again. Hit at the line of scrimmage, but wiggles free and gets inside the 25 to about the 24-yard line. That will be another Itawamba first down.
And that's the pace. They talked about when Bell came in the ball game that you're going to, again, this wasn't something that Pearl River was not expecting, that when Bell got in the ball game, expect pace, and you're seeing it as they're not huddling, they're getting to the line of scrimmage quickly, calling the play and trying to get Pearl River's defense on their heels.
LaDerrick Bell, the freshman quarterback out of Anniston, Alabama, on 1st and 10. Fakes the handoff, will run it himself. This time the Wildcats had him bottled up and drop him for no gain on the play. He almost got free. But therefore, Pearl River was Ezekias Chapman, the freshman out of Lake, Mississippi, to make that tackle. No gain, 2nd down and 10.
Interesting. It looks like there's been a quarterback draw called. Now, that's obviously a straight run by the quarterback, but on the 2 read option plays, LaDerrick Bell has kept it both times. I mean, he wants the ball in his hands, so the defense will adjust to that and know that unlike a lot of quarterbacks who like to give and let the running back do the damage, Bell, when he's in there, wants to have his feet do the talking.
Bell wants to throw, does toward the sideline, a late break and a late out turn by the wide receiver. he had to get rid of it quickly. The intended receiver was Austin Watkins, the sophomore out of Tupelo. Brings up a 3rd down and 10 on the incompletion. The Indians will return home next week for their home opener against East Central. They'll take on the Warriors next week when the River Cats will be right back here to face the #1 team in the country, East Mississippi. Will come calling next Thursday night. 8:38 left to go here in the first quarter. Big 3rd down play here for the Pearl River defense with 3 down linemen. Now, the starting quarterback, Spencer Unruh, back in, flush from the pocket. Plenty of room. He runs it himself and does the second base slide down at about the 14-yard line, which is exactly where he needed to get. And I think that'll be enough.
Kelly, I'm telling you, he got a good spot because when you start that slide, you're supposed to be marked back where you begin the slide. He began that short of the first down marker, but they gave him the dive, kind of the jump forward, and that 1 yard made a huge difference right there. That was just enough to move the sticks.
And that's where the wet field actually helps you there, slide forward. 1st and 10. Unruh wants to throw, does into the right flat. It's caught, but bumped out of bounds at about the 8-yard line. So a gain there of about 5, I guess. Jalen Gale, the freshman wide receiver out of Olive Branch, making the catch and making the tackle for Pearl River. Marshall Kozma, the sophomore from East Lake, Florida.
Actually gave him a pretty good spot. That's a 7-yard pickup. So now the thing is that they only need 3 yards to move the sticks at the 8-yard line.
From the near hash mark, now back in at quarterback is LaDerrick Bell. Bell puts Deshaun Dinkins in motion. Direct snap to Bell, right up the middle into the end zone. That's an Itawamba touchdown.
Well, the seas just parted. That was one of those situations, Kelly, where the offensive line won the battle. It was well blocked. I mean, maybe somebody got a hand on him at best down around his legs, but that was a pretty easy run into the end zone, straight up the middle for the touchdown.
Caleb Comer, the specialist soccer-style kicker, comes in for Itawamba, the sophomore out of Caledonia, Mississippi. And we've got an illegal substitution flag on the play, so it looks like the Indians will be marched back 5 yards. The holder is Spencer Unruh, who was the starting quarterback. So the Indians draw first blood here with 7:59 left to go here in the first quarter. Caleb Comer. We'll see how the wet ball might affect special teams. Pearl River across the line early. The kick is up, and the kick is good. Boy, it looked like there was all kinds of early movement, but no flags on the play. So Comer makes the kick. 7-0. Itawamba leads Pearl River. We'll be back with the kickoff after this timeout. You're watching Pearl River Wildcat football on prccmedia.com.
We want to thank you for quickly making Pine Belt Chevrolet one of the area's biggest dealerships. We're selling a lot of vehicles because you're finding out the best price and best service are right here. And during Truck Month, you get 18% off all 2018 Silverado 1500s, plus 90-day deferred payment, and 14% off all 2018 Tahoes, or choose from a big selection of certified pre-owned. New Pine Belt Chevrolet, Highway 98 West at Bellevue. Count on it.
Back at Dobie Holden Stadium, the Wildcats trail 7-0 after the run by LaDerrick Bell right up the gut of the Pearl River defense.
Well, Itawamba's had 2 great starting field positions. They've moved the football both times they've had the ball, so in the early going, the advantage goes to the Indians.
End over end kick will be fielded right at the 10-yard line, looking for the right side wedge and streaking forward for Pearl River, and then dumped at about the 25-yard line is Marshall Kozma. So looks like it'll be spotted at the 24-yard line. So the Wildcats get back to work. Ryan Trevathan and his offense looking to get uncorked here.
Again, average starting, I know it's early going, but just in the early going, the average starting field position, Itawamba started at their 42-yard line with their 2 possessions. Pearl River started just outside their 20. And already in this football game, Kelly, Itawamba has run 16 offensive plays to Pearl River's 3.
Cooper Callus at quarterback. The first series a 3-and-out. Hands off to Thompson. Thompson nothing up the middle, so he tries the left side and does work his way yeoman style up to the 29-yard line. That's a pickup of about 4 on the play. Brings up a 2nd down and 6 with 7:39 left to go here in the first quarter. Now the Wildcats working quickly. Callus with the hand clap. Again to Thompson. The exact same play, but he's dumped at the 30. Only a gain of about a yard on the play. Making the tackle there is Kobe Cole, the freshman linebacker out of Madison Central.
That was a good tackle, Kelly, because, again, there was a whole lot of green grass in front of Thompson right there. If Thompson slips out of that, huge gain, but he wraps him up. It's 3rd down.
Twin receivers to each side of the field. The Wildcats working from the near hash mark. Tries a staggered count, tried to get the Indians to jump, now looking to the sidelines. 2 or 3 different coaches flashing in signals. Of course, one is a live set of signals. The others are decoys. Callus wants to throw. He gets the pass up to about the 32-yard line, and it's complete to Tyler Polk. He was hit immediately after making the throw, but it is a 1st down up at the 37-yard line. And you can't help but think as more plays goes by and more 1st downs that Pearl River racks up, that offense will gain some confidence.
And I think that the defense of the Indians got a break right there, Kelly. I think that the ball was gone far enough for him not to be thrown to the ground like that. That was one of those 50-50 calls that easily could have been called roughing the quarterback.
Hayden Bryce, the freshman wide receiver from St. Joe's, in the ball game to the near side for Pearl River. Stack to the left side. Callus wants to throw, looks, lofts it up to the right side of the field. The intended receiver there was Keontae Payton, but he broke left when Callus thought he was going to break toward the sideline. Incomplete. Brings up a 2nd down and 10 with 6:24 left to go here in the first quarter. Pearl River trailing Itawamba 7-0.
And that throw may have been a throw away just as much as a misread, as you said, Kelly. It could be either one because the pressure was on Callus right away. He didn't have a lot of time to throw the football. It was just a good job either way to get an incompletion out of that instead of a sack.
KJ Breland from Forest County AHS to the near side. The handoff and a big hole. Here goes Ron Thompson streaking down the near sideline. Ron Thompson at the 10, dives to the end zone. He's in. That's a Wildcat touchdown.
63 yards, a huge hole opened up by the offensive lineman. Kelly, once Ron Thompson got through that initial crowd of folks right at the line, he took it like a rocket shot toward the pylon, outrunning the defensive back, and a good job of downfield blocking also. That little bit of a shield right there was just enough to give Thompson the chance to dive for the pylon. 63 yards for the score.
What I worried about was KJ Breland was the tail man for Pearl River there, and I was afraid that Breland was going to push the defender from the back, which of course would have cost the Wildcats the touchdown, but Breland had the presence of mind to not do that and just trust Ron Thompson's feet, and it was enough for a Wildcat touchdown. And now Pearl River calls timeout. With 6:12 left to go in the first quarter. Back in a moment. You're watching Wildcat.
Delana Harris from Pearl River Community College. And like football, life takes a great game plan, the right tools and equipment, and having an encouraging coach always helps.
At PRCC, we have full academic offerings for the first 2 years of college and over 40 career and technical education programs.
With personalized advising and a student-instructor ratio of 17-1, creating your game plan for success is easy.
So come join our team at Pearl River Community College and enroll with the Maroon and Gold.
The lights are on here at Dobie Holden Stadium. Game 1 of the 2018 MAC-JC Junior College football season. The MAC-JAC, the toughest league in America. The Wildcats a kick away from perhaps tying this game with 6:12 left to go in the first.
And Will Lang is who we expect to come out and try the PAT. And again, one of those things I asked Coach Ted Egger before the game, you know, how far of the range do you feel comfortable with? And he kind of shook his head a little bit. If there's one thing that really is a question mark right now going into the season, it's the kicking game as far as the extra point and field goals. So we're going to see right out of the gate Will Lang and the long snapper as well. The long snapper last year for Pearl River went to Southern Miss, but it looks like they're going to forego the extra point altogether, maybe part of our decision, and go for 2.
So Callus at quarterback as the Wildcats do look for two and go for the lead. Rolls to his right, dumps the ball, has a man open at the goal line, and he is in. Making the catch but getting hammered after making the snag was Tyler Polk, and he got pummeled and pushed backward, but he was across the line when he made the grab, and the Wildcat two-point conversion is good. Pearl River leads 8-7.
Kelly, Cooper Callus right there. Now the catch, nice catch. Initially it looked like an easy one, but on the hit to be able to hold on to it. But Cooper Callus, Kelly, he had a man coming at him, but he waited and waited just long enough for his receiver to get wide open, not just a little open. He let him break out, get his route. If Cooper Callus panics a little bit and throws that early, that's no good. But because he was able to hold on to it to the very last second, he flips it into the end zone, and Pearl River has the lead.
Again, we'll be keeping you up to date on the Anderson Design Center scoreboard. Other games across the MAC-Jack. East Central against Northwest. Coahoma playing Jones tonight. Hines is at East Mississippi, and again, East Mississippi comes here next week. Northwest playing at Southwest, and Delta is at Gulf Coast. Coming up on the Hardee's halftime show, we'll be talking with Athletic Director Jeff Long, and there is much to talk about. Probably the busiest off-season for Pearl River athletics as there's been in quite some time. I can't imagine in the history of this school there's been as many things going on in the off-season as there has been between last academic year and this academic year. Jeff Long will be here to update us. Pearl River leading this one 8-7 now.
How about that offense, Kelly, after a 3-and-out on their own 24-yard line? It takes them 5 plays, but they go the distance, 76 yards on the 63-yard touchdown run by Ron Thompson. Great answer to the Itawamba touchdown.
Mosley wants to kick this one away, but the football falls off of the tee, so he will put it back up. Good luck to all the area high school teams as their seasons continue. Poplarville right here in town is another terrific team in District 7 4A. And, of course, Division I football actually begins tonight with several games across the country. Southern Miss opening on Saturday against Jackson State. That's a 6 o'clock kickoff. Great kick here, end over end, snagged at about the 2-yard line. Wildcat special teams trying to keep the man Donovan Hickman tied up, but Hickman gets all the way up to the 48-yard line. So, again, great field position for Itawamba, and it kind of pins the Pearl River defense back just a little bit with 6:04 left to go here in the first.
Boy, once again, Kelly, great starting field position for Itawamba. They haven't had any duress starting at their own 38-yard line on their first possession. That ended up being their worst starting field position. This is the second consecutive drive they've started from the 46.
First down as the Indians continue to work left to right or north to south, if you're familiar with the layout here at Dobie Holden Stadium, that bronze statue as you come into the stadium of the immortal Dobie Holden, the man after which this stadium is named. And best wishes to Coach J.C. Arban, longtime Pearl River coach who has been dealing with a few health issues, but got a good report earlier this week. So, Coach Arban, thumbs up and good luck to you as a handoff goes over left tackle and a gain of about 7 yards. Making the play there for Itawamba is Deshaun Dinkins, the sophomore running back out of Warner Robins, Georgia.
After bottling him up on the first carry of the game, Dinkins has found some room to run. He's got 22 yards on his last 2 carries alone.
The Indians in their white uniforms, their navy blue pants. Quick pass is batted down. Good defensive play there by the Wildcat linebacker, Joseph Daniels, the sophomore out of Bonneville, Louisiana. That's one thing linebackers are always taught to do is if you get up in a quarterback's face and he's going to pass it, make sure you get those hands in the air.
Great defensive play because the receiver was there for the first down had he not made the play. But here, this is the 3rd consecutive possession. Itawamba has started the game and gotten into Pearl River territory, but the Wildcats with a chance to record their first 3-and-out of the ball game.
3rd down at about 4 now. Direct snap right to the quarterback, runs right straight ahead, and he has been a pain in the neck so far. LaDerrick Bell on the direct snap to the quarterback. He gets a first down, and the Wildcats have not been able to hold him in check.
No, 5 carries now, Kelly, for 29 yards, and he has the touchdown run. Also, boy, when he has the ball in his hands, good things are happening in the early going for the Indians.
1st and 10, Bell at quarterback again. This time he'll hand it off and find some room over right tackle. It's Dinkins again. Dinkins carrying some Wildcats with him all the way down to the 30. That's a gain of 12 and another chain mover for the Itawamba Indians, whose offense has been pretty prolific so far here in the early going.
Well, and what happens is when LaDerrick Bell runs the read option 4 times and keeps it 4 times, when he actually hands it to the running back, that's an advantage to the running back. The Wildcats let him get by.
Pass down the sideline looking for a receiver is incomplete. The Wildcats will be flagged for pass interference here.
But there's also a penalty well back at the line of scrimmage, which may help Pearl River out here, so hold everything.
Tavis Williams, I think, who also plays quarterback for Pearl River, I believe was in cover. No, I beg your pardon. That was Eli Stringfellow. Eli Stringfellow on the coverage for Pearl River. The first 2 flags of the night that have flown, and we might have offsetting penalties here. The interference against Pearl River and perhaps a hold against the Indians as Robert Eakins comes to make the call. Ineligible downfield for the Indians.
Huge break for Pearl River right there, because obviously the pass interference, well, it's not like the pros, so the ball wouldn't have been spotted at the 2 or 3 yard line, but that would have been a 15-yard penalty and a 1st and 10 in the red zone for Itawamba. But instead, the Wildcats will get a do-over right here, as it'll stay 1st and 10 at the 33.
And we don't ever want to call the other team being in the Red Burrito red zone. We'd like for the Wildcats to be in the Red Burrito red zone. 1st and 10 after all of that. The football is at the 33-yard line of the River Cats. Quarterback keeps it himself again. Look out. LaDerrick Bell bobbing and weaving his way down to about the 25-yard line. So he got most all of the yardage he needed, about 3 yards short. So a gain of 7 on the play.
And despite being the second string, or the second quarterback in, is probably the better way to say it, of 13 rushing attempts, LaDerrick Bell has 6 of them himself.
Bad snap, and he's got to go to the ground. And wisely for Pearl River, Corey Jackson, the sophomore linebacker out of Madison Ridgeland Academy, had the wherewithal and the presence of mind not to just hammer that quarterback when he went down on it.
Again, though, I think that was more of a wet ball, Kelly. We've seen it twice now. But, of course, the first time ended up in a completion, but that time an 11-yard loss, and now a 3rd and 14 facing the Indians.
So we'll see what offensive coordinator Chad Cook for Itawamba dials up here. Head coach Sean Cannon looking on from the far sideline for Itawamba on a 3rd and 13 with 3:41 left to go. There's a snap with an empty backfield. Pearl River sits back. Unruh throws toward the end zone. That pass is incomplete. Pearl River had plenty of coverage there on the play. Pass was intended there for Kavarius Brown, the wide receiver out of Grenada. So the punting team comes in again for the Indians. Penalties and a couple of bad snaps have caused problems for Itawamba, but credit the Pearl River defense for making them pay for those mistakes. Again, the little pooch. Fair catch called for at the 10-yard line.
This one a much better effort. Remember the last time they tried to pooch it, they popped it up basically for a 17-yard punt. This one, although only 27 yards net, but when you're kicking it from the 37, that ain't bad. Anytime you can pin the other team from the 10-yard line and in, you've done your job as a punter. So a good job right there. And the Wildcats once again starting in bad field position.
Checking the Anderson's Design Center scoreboard, Northeast is leading Southwest. That is a 7-0 score down in Summit. East Mississippi is leading Hines 7-0. All of our scores brought to you by our friends at Anderson's Design Center in Oak Grove, near Oak Grove Optimus Park. Handoff to Ron Thompson. Same play that he scored on. Ron Thompson rambling down the sideline. Will anybody catch him? Thompson is pushed out of bounds at the 20 by Tyrese Quinn, the sophomore defensive back out of Calhoun City. But he was the only man standing between he and the end zone. Ron Thompson with another big gain.
If you thought 63 was a big gain, how about 70 yards on the first play from Ron Thompson? Kelly in 5 carries in the ball game so far. Ron Thompson's run up 139 yards of offense all by himself. The only thing that kept him out of the end zone was the free safety had the angle on him and just was able to get a hand on him and shove him out of bounds. But the Wildcats are in the Red Burrito red zone.
First time tonight. Callus on the play action, throws across the middle. Touchdown, Wildcats. That's K.J. Breland.
Oh, when you run the football that effectively, Kelly, the defense is focused on stopping it. The little play action pass, K.J. Breland went down untouched as he went down on a little in route, and it couldn't have been a better pass from Cooper Callus. 20 yards, a two-play, 90-yard drive for the Wildcats.
Now Pearl River will try the extra point with a little bit of breathing room, and I do mean just a little bit of breathing room here with 2:52 left to go. Boy, that tight spiral that Cooper Callus threw there was a beaut. So the special teams here for Pearl River looking to add an extra point. On to kick it is William Lang out of Indianola Academy. This kick is up, and it is good. Boy, it was a knuckleball, but it got through with 2:52. 15-7 Pearl River. Back in a moment. You were watching Wildcat football on PRCCmedia.com.
Southern Miss to the top. Let's go Eagles!
It's another exciting year as we support the Golden Eagle team.
We're all in for Southern Miss football.
How about you? You'll find the best teams for customer service and price at Pine Belt Chevrolet, Courtesy Ford, and Pine Belt Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. From tough trucks to your favorite SUVs to performance and fun, we're all in for you.
Southern Miss to the top.
Back at Dobie Holden Stadium on the campus of Pearl River Community College in Poplarville. Kelly Sander along with Captain D. David Sutton. The Wildcats lead this one 15-7. Other scores on the Anderson's Design Center scoreboard. Holmes is leading Colin at 10-7 in the second quarter. A lot of football left to be played in that one. Northwest and East Central are tied at 7 in the first. Other games, no scores on. Coahoma against Jones, Delta against Gulf Coast. All of our scores brought to you by our friends at Anderson Design Center off of Highway 98 in Oak Grove, near Oak Grove Optimus Park. So the Wildcat offense, which got in its own way in the first series, has really come to life as the kick is away. We'll see if the Wildcat special teams here can hem the Indians up a little bit better than they have. Another great return along the far sideline up to near the 50-yard line. So already, as Ted Egger develops a to-do list for next week, Captain D. David Sutton, one thing they'll have to focus on is kickoff returns.
Average starting field position for Itawamba, Kelly, is the 44-yard line. They've started at the 38, the 46, the 46, and now the 45-yard line. All three of their possessions so far have made it into Pearl River territory. Kelly, Pearl River's average starting field position is their own 17-yard line, yet they still lead 15-7.
Which has been problematic for the defense, at least in the early going. A little screen pass on the dump up, a gain of about 2 or 3 yards on the play. The Wildcat defense had it snuffed out. Jamerick Waller, the sophomore defensive lineman from right here in Poplarville, was in there along with a couple of other Wildcats to make the stop. Also in there was Janarius Johnson from Gulfport. It's a gain of 2, call it 2nd down and 8. Clock moving with 2:19 left to go here in the first quarter. Pearl River leading 15-7. In there at quarterback is Unruh. Wants to throw. He's got all kinds of time, but overthrew his intended receiver at about the 45-yard line in the likes of Cedric Bradford, the sophomore wide receiver out of Tuscaloosa Northridge.
It's interesting, Kelly, that the Indians have gone away from the run on this possession. Again, so far throwing the football, only 3 of 11 for 23 yards, but running the football, Kelly, they're up around 100.
So 3rd down and 8 upcoming now. The Wildcats have not stopped the Indians on a 3-and-out so far tonight, even though the Wildcats have the advantage on the scoreboard. 3rd down, that would be much more favorable field position for Pearl River if they can stop them here. Unruh wants to throw across the middle, incomplete. The intended receiver was Jalen Gale, the freshman out of Olive Branch. The pass was thrown into the turf, and here comes the punting unit for the Indians, and the Wildcats most likely will have their best starting field position of the night.
Well, Kelly, this inexperienced young secondary is proving up to the task so far. Again, 3 for 14 for only 23 yards between Unruh and LaDerrick Bell for the Indians.
Back to return it is Eli Strongfellow. This is a high wobbler that Strongfellow will have to just let come down. The other Wildcats get out of the way. The Indians will kill it at about the 22-yard line. Not great field position, but even better than what they've had so far, with 1:49 left to go, and the Wildcats leading this one 15-7.
Yeah, only the second time they've started outside their own 20. That's the bad news. The good news is that on the last two possessions, Kelly, a 5-play 76-yard drive and a 2-play 90-yard drive have the Wildcat offense really rolling right now, with Ron Thompson leading the way. 5 carries for 139 yards and a score already for the sophomore out of Bassfield.
Trip receivers to the near side, and again, you won't hear that much anymore of that player out of Bassfield. It's now Jeff Davis High School. Quick pass to the near sideline to KJ Breland. Breland, with that 2-point conversion catch, gets the Wildcats up to about the 20, looks like he stepped out at about the 27-yard line. Gain of about 3 on the play. Call it 2nd down and 7. Wildcats wanting to work quickly. Callus with a hand clap takes the ball. Play action, same play, but he overthrew his intended receiver, Breland, that time. Incomplete. Stops the clock, but brings up a 3rd down and about 7 with 1:32 left to go here in the first.
Yeah, this is an excuse when I say this, but the ball, that looked like a wet ball throw. I mean, it looked like it slipped out of the hands of Cooper Callus as he just airmailed his intended receiver. KJ Breland, how about his start? A couple of catches for 24 yards and a score officially, and as you said, he also had the 2-point conversion, so a good start for KJ Breland.
Breland, the sophomore out of Forest County AHS. Callus throws again. It's high over the intended receiver, Tyler Polk. That one sailed on him, and the punting unit will now be deployed here for Pearl River, as they'll have to kick it right back to Itawamba in a really cleanly played game here in the first game of the season. You expect to see a lot of flags, but not so far here tonight.
Yeah, only 1 delay penalty. Of course, we had an offsetting, but only 1 delay penalty has been the only accepted. And right there, Callus again threw it over his intended receiver's head, but that was a good thing, Kelly. I think you saw it as well. The defensive back really had a beat on that. Had that been on the mark, it might have been a pick 6.
Heath Mosley in to kick it away. Here comes pressure. He does get a nice spiral floater that the Indians will not be able to return. It takes a bound to the left and out of bounds at the 38-yard line. You'd think, well, that's not great field position, but for Itawamba, this has been about the worst start of the night.
It ties. It is. It literally ties their worst starting field position of the night. Kelly, Itawamba's worst starting field position is 14 yards better than Pearl River's best starting field position, but all you care about is the score. And right now, hey, what that's showing you, though, Kelly, how good of a job has this defense done? They really have had no real estate, behind them to play with so far tonight, yet they've held Itawamba to just the 1 touchdown drive.
And that's the bread and butter of any team at any level, is the team's defense. No disrespect at all to the offense, but 1st and 10 here, the straight snap to LaDerrick Bell, the quarterback. This time the Wildcats sniff it out and drop him for a loss on the play. Several Wildcats there, including Jaden Ridgway, the freshman defensive lineman from Pascagoula.
Well, I said earlier, after he had done, 5 or 6 consecutive runs where they'd have been successful, you knew some adjustments were going to be made by the mastermind Ted Egger at defense, and that was a good one right there. They really bottled him up.
This time will he have to pass? He dropped the ball. The ball is on the ground, but I think he covered it back up. LaDerrick Bell was very fortunate to get back on top of the pigskin. He slipped and fell, and when he tried to regain his balance, he put his hand to the ground, but lost the football in the process.
Kelly, you talk about being stuck in reverse. LaDerrick Bell's first 6 carries, they were for 38 yards and a touchdown. His last 3 carries have gone backwards 25 yards, and it is 3rd and 20 coming up for the Indians.
In the waning seconds of the first quarter here, clock moving with 15 seconds left to go. Bell wants to throw. Now, can't find anybody. Rolls to the right. Passes downfield again. Has a receiver, but overthrows his intended man, Jamel Thomas from Caledonia. So with 6 seconds left to go in the quarter, the Itawamba Indians will have to kick it away. And slowly you see the field starting to tilt to Pearl River's side.
Kelly, that was a clinic on defense. You got pressure on the quarterback, but on a running quarterback, they still held their lane, so he couldn't find a place to run. He created time for himself, though. How many times do you see when you hit a quarterback scramble, a wide receiver breaks free, no one to throw it to? Great job on the line, great job in the secondary by Pearl River.
Wildcats will let this punt bounce as it wiggles its way toward the sideline. Itawamba downs it at about the 40-yard line, and that's the end of the first quarter. One in the books here in Dobie Holden in 2018. It's the Wildcats 15, the Indians 7. You're watching Pearl River Wildcat football on prccmedia.com.
We want to thank you for quickly making Pine Belt Chevrolet one of the area's biggest dealerships. We're selling a lot of vehicles because you're finding out the best price and best service are right here.
And during Truck Month, you get 18% off all 2018 Silverado 1500s, plus 90-day deferred payment, and 14% off all 2018 Tahoes, or choose from a big selection of certified pre-owned.
New Pine Belt Chevrolet, Highway 98 West at Bellevue. Count on it.
Kelly Sander with Captain D. David Sutton, as we are honored, and it's a pleasure to be your web stream broadcast team, now entering our 4th season. Checking the Anderson Design Center scoreboard, East Mississippi has extended its lead against Hines 16-0. East Central leading Northwest now by a field goal, 10-7. That game is up in Senatobia. Gulf Coast leading Delta 14-0. So the fact that Gulf Coast scored 1 point, that should be enough to beat Delta. The poor Delta offense has struggled. Northeast leading Southwest now 7-6. The Bears have put up a touchdown. All of our scores brought to you by our friends at Anderson's Design Center.
How about this starting field position, Kelly? It's not at the 20-yard line or behind. A 41-yard line here. The Wildcats with some great starting field position. Best of the night by far.
Cooper Callus looks to the right. Kind of a sling, a sidearm throw that got away from him. Incomplete. His intended receiver was T.J. Wash, the freshman running back swinging out of the backfield.
That's 3 consecutive passes, though, that Callus not only has missed, but missed high. So, again, you wonder about that wet football. But how about this in the first quarter, Kelly, real quick? Pearl River, 165 yards of offense, 139 on the ground, 26 through the air. Itawamba, only 89 yards of offense, 66 on the ground, 23 through the air.
Second down and 10 for the River Cats, working north to south here at Dobie Holden in the second quarter. Man in motion to the near side is Polk, but they give it to Thompson, who tries to slash his way across the middle. No, I stand corrected. That was Wash. Wash with the carry and a gain of about a couple on the play. That'll bring up a 3rd down and 8. 3rd down and 8. So coming into the lineup now is Dwayne Lee. Dwayne Lee, the sophomore wide receiver out of Oak Grove. 3rd down for the Wildcats. Again, Callus, spelled C-A-L-L-I-S, is in control. Throws, has his receiver. He was wide open, was Tyler Polk, and he threw it behind him.
I don't know if Callus was expecting Polk to break out and he broke in, but Kelly, you called it correctly. He was wide open. There was nobody within 5 yards of him. Not only would that have been a first down, but it would have been a 15 to 20-yard pickup because he had room to run afterwards. Itawamba really dodged a bullet right there, and the Wildcats weren't able to take advantage of that good starting field position.
Mosley to boot it away now. It's a good snap, and Mosley gets the kick away, and this is a nice punt that the fair catch will be called for at the 21-yard line, and that's where the Indians will start now. Again, as the field position game now starts to work back toward Pearl River's favor. The most important thing in Pearl River's favor is the scoreboard. Wildcats leading this one 15-7.
Yeah, in the first quarter, Kelly, Itawamba's average starting field position was their own 42-yard line. This by far their worst starting field position of the night. In fact, by 15 yards starting back on their own 22, 23-yard line.
You know, the defense would like to have a little rest here, maybe offense get a sustained drive, but the Indians back to work. It's a handoff, started to the left side, then back to the right. Weaving his way through traffic and getting up to about the 29-yard line is the carrier there for the Indians. That's Deshaun Dinkins. Dinkins out of Warner Robins, Georgia. Got a gain of about 5 on the play. Second down, LaDerrick Bell at the controls. A high snap. Look out. This is trouble. And the ball is still loose toward the end zone. Who will come up with it?
Pearl River's got it, I think, in the back. They
Touchdown.
do.
Touchdown, Wildcats.
I believe, well, I was going to say, Jamal, it was number 2. LaDerrick excuse me.
Eli Stringfellow.
Eli Stringfellow came up with boy, that ball was touched by 2 or 3 different players, but on both teams, but just before it trickled out of the checkerboard back of the end zone, Stringfellow was able to jump on top of it, and a defensive score has widened the lead.
Max Crawford, the quarterback out of Oak Grove High School, will hold it for the attempted extra point by William Lang, the sophomore out of Indianola Academy. Pearl River looking to make it a 22-7 game. This kick is up, and it is no good. It is wide to the right. So with 13:42 left to go in quarter number 2, it's Pearl River 21-7 over Itawamba. Back in a moment. You're watching Wildcat football on PRCCmedia.com.
Hey, I'm Delana Harris from Pearl River Community College, and like football, life takes a great game plan, the right tools and equipment, and having an encouraging coach always helps.
At PRCC, we have full academic offerings for the first 2 years of college and over 40 career and technical education programs.
With personalized advising and a student-instructor ratio of 17-1, creating your game plan for success is easy.
So come join our team at Pearl River Community College and enroll with the Maroon and Gold. Hey, I'm
The Wildcats have shown some offensive prowess. They have shown some defensive prowess and now some special teams play. Actually, with an assist from Itawamba.
Well, one thing, you can say what you want, obviously, it was the air-mailed snap that gave the defense a chance to score. But look, you got to get back there and get it. I mean, if Itawamba was able to recover it, 2 points instead of 6 points. But on top of that, finally, the worst starting field position of the night for Itawamba turns into points for Pearl River.
And hindsight's always 20/20, but LaDerrick Bell would have been better served just to kick it out of the end zone and take the safety. But the Wildcats will boot this away. And boy, Big Mo is definitely on the side of Pearl River. Football fielded at the 5-yard lines. The Indians have done a great job in return teams, but what a lick by Pearl River's Justin Mary, who's a tight end, but also on special teams. He knocked the clothes off of the return man for Itawamba there.
Not only did he knock the clothes off of him, he stood tall. He didn't go down to the ground. He just hit him. He looked at him as he was down and just went and backed off the field. That was like running into a brick wall right there. Itawamba will start on the 30-yard line.
Of course, you know you got to be tough when you got a name like Mary. Even though it is his birth last name, Justin Mary, another Oak Grove product in the lineup tonight for Pearl River. Justin Mary, also kind of a TV star. He has done some commercials for Pearl River College and some of their marketing campaigns.
Pearl River, Kelly, has not only scored 21 consecutive points, but they've scored 21 points, Kelly, in the last 7.5 game minutes. So basically a half a quarter, they've put 3 touchdowns on the board.
Pearl River guilty of an illegal substitution, which gives the Indians 5 yards, first down and 5. Now the football at the 35-yard line. Back in at quarterback is the starter, Spencer Unruh, but penalty markers come down before the play can develop.
This is definitely going against Itawamba. That looked like a Canadian Football League play, where they can start running toward the line of scrimmage before the snap. If you've ever watched some CFL football, there was a whole lot of movement forward before the ball went backwards.
I actually got to see Johnny Football throw it 3 or 4 times to the other team.
Yeah, I was going to say, he threw a lot of completions.
Just to the wrong guys. 1st and 10 for Itawamba now on the 1st and 10. So tit for tat on the 5-yard penalties there. Unruh wants to throw, loads it, cocks it across the middle. It's tipped and intercepted. The Wildcat defense have come up big again, and down at the 25-yard line, making the interception for Pearl River is Kyron Norwood, the sophomore out of Forest County AHS, and the Wildcats are in business again at the Indian 25-yard line.
And give Reggie Williams, boy, we've called his name a lot tonight, the sophomore linebacker out of Hattiesburg, give him the assist. He had the deflection. It ends up being a turnover. That's 2 consecutive. Remember, there was penalties there. That was the first official play. 2 straight offensive plays have turned into turnovers. One was a touchdown by the defense. This one has put the offense in a great scoring position, starting on the 25-yard line of Itawamba.
13:24 left to go before halftime. The River Cats already lead at 21-7 and have opened up a cut here on the Indians and are going for more blood here on 1st down and 10 from the far hash mark in front of the Itawamba bench. Cooper Callus at the controls. Puts Justin Mary in motion to the right side. Callus wants to throw, flush from the pocket. He'll run it himself and dives forward to about the 21-yard line. Smart play when it didn't develop initially. Got 4 or 5 yards when he could get it. Brings up a second down and about 4.
Coach Eggert said he'll run it when he has to, and right there, good job not trying to force anything. 4 yards on first down ends up being a nice pickup.
Callus looking to the sideline, and he's got the talented running back Ron Thompson split to his right. Thompson out of Bassfield, one of the last guys you can say that about. And they give it to Thompson, but before he can weave through traffic, we've got a false start on the Wildcats.
Oh, and there was some room to roam there. What a start, though, by Ron Thompson. For those, on these streams, Kelly, people popping in and out all the time. If you didn't catch it earlier, Ron Thompson, we've got 12:49 to go in the second quarter. He's racked up 139 yards and a touchdown in just 5 carries in the early going.
Justin Mary checks out for Pearl River. Tyler Polk comes in. So it'll be a second down and 11 for the Wildcats. They want to get some points and take advantage of this great starting position.
Only 2 penalties on each team, Kelly, for 10 yards, both minor infractions. Again, a very nicely, cleanly played game for game number 1 for both teams.
Second down. Callus calls for the football, fakes the handoff, and now the little dump pass is complete out here to the 21-yard line. Good pursuit there. Nice catch there by the Wildcats' Donovan Hickman, the sophomore tight end out of Union. And a tackle made there by B.J. Williams, the sophomore defensive back out of Aberdeen.
Sometimes you forget on the read option, Kelly, that there is a pass option to that too. In a lot of cases, you just don't ever see it thrown a lot of times. But right there, Callus decided to throw the football, got half of what he needed. Now a manageable situation here on 3rd and 7.
From the near hash mark this time, Cooper Callus, the University of Missouri transfer from Jackson, Missouri. Said it's about 7 hours. Near the Cape Girardeau, Missouri area is where he's from. On 3rd down, and we might have a delay here on Pearl River, and that is the call.
Well, you could hear it. There's a great crowd on hand here, by the way, for opening night, especially ones that hung around through the rainstorm. But you could hear them screaming, and actually Pearl River got a timeout called, and they've waved off the flag. So the second timeout used by the Wildcats, but it does save them 5 yards.
Pearl River begins the season at home with 2 straight. Here tonight, obviously, against Itawamba, and then East Mississippi, the #1 team in the nation, comes in here next week. At last report, East Mississippi was leading Hines 14-0. We talked about those teams in Pearl River's division, including Jones, Mississippi Gulf Coast, and Colin. Colin, that defensive front for Colin, 5 Division I commits across that defensive line. You don't think William Jones, the former Pearl River coach, is licking his chops about being able to coach 5 D1 guys?
Look, obviously he would have wanted to have a better success as the head coach here, but if there's one thing you cannot argue, William Jones knows defense. If you got him as your defensive coordinator, you're on the right track.
So after the timeout huddle is broken, Pearl River 3rd down and 7. Callus with 3 receivers. Gives it to Ron Thompson. Thompson, can his footwork get outside? He does. Darts inside and then gets pushed in the back, and that'll cause the Indians to have a flag thrown, and this will cost the Indians some more. Ron Thompson was out of bounds and got pushed in the back.
Thompson with the 11-yard run on the play from the 22 to the 11, and now you're going to tack on about 5 or 6 more depending on how that half comes around. But the Wildcats with the big run to convert on 3rd down and 7, get the first down, and now we'll be facing a goal-to-go situation as they'll move it half the distance to the goal and put the ball right around the 5-yard line.
The thing you have to be careful, particularly about over where Thompson was pushed out, Captain D, is the chain link fence over there at Pearl River comes right at, that's as close as it gets to the field, is right there where Thompson was pushed out. Luckily, he was able to avert it. 1st and goal for the Wildcats.
Wildcat formation right there. Looks like Tavis Williams checked in quickly. I knew that wasn't Cooper Callus, but it was Tavis Williams, the backup quarterback, sneaking in, taking a sweep out there just inside the 5, only a pickup of 1. Really a nice job by Itawamba's defense to string it out.
Tavis Williams, a terrific quarterback out of Harrison Central High School, where he was coached by Casey Kane. Casey Kane, the head coach there. And Coach Garvin, Patrick Garvin, the OC. Handoff up the middle, nothing doing as the Indians swarm all around the Pearl River runner. No gain on the play, maybe a loss.
I believe that was Jesse Purnell's first carry of the game, and he had no chance.
Jesse Purnell, a Hornet in high school right here at Poplarville. They're the perennial team to beat in District 7 4A in high school, and this year apparently no different for the Hornets. 3rd down now and goal.
I know it's early, Kelly. This is a big possession for the Indian defense right here, because if they give up another score, it gets out to a 3-score game. Pearl River might be playing downhill for the rest of this ball game.
And I wonder if Pearl River doesn't get in, do they go for the touchdown? Callus throws this up to the end zone. He's got a man wide open. Justin Mary in the corner. That's a touchdown, Wildcats.
Boy, a throwback. Did you see? Perfectly executed. Callus takes the snap, rolls 2 or 3 steps to his right. You almost see the whole defense just kind of like a wave move with him, and all of a sudden he turns back around, flips it to the complete opposite side of the field where everyone had left. Easy catch in the back of the end zone off a perfectly placed floater. It's another touchdown for Pearl River.
The Wildcat offense has opened up a small can anyway at this point, looking to make it the 28th point of the night, and trying to add that extra point is William Lang, again out of Indianola Academy, out of the hold of Max Crawford. This kick is
It would have been a goal
in soccer.
If the soccer net was up, but it was a bad snap, mishandled. Not really Lang's fault.
So the Wildcats lead at 27-7 with 10:08 left to go in the second quarter. Back in a moment. You're watching Wildcat Football on PRCCmedia.com.
Hey, I'm Delana Harris from Pearl River Community College, and like football, life takes a great game plan, the right tools and equipment, and having an encouraging coach always helps.
At PRCC, we have full academic offerings for the first 2 years of college and over 40 career and technical education programs.
With personalized advising and a student-instructor ratio of 17-1, creating your game plan for success is easy.
So come join our team at Pearl River Community College and enroll with the Maroon and Gold.
Pearl River leads this one 27-7 over Itawamba. Other scores on the Anderson Design Center scoreboard. East Central over Northwest 10-7. That's up in Senatobia. Jones with a touchdown over Coahoma, leading that one 7-0 in Ellisville. East Mississippi over Hines 23-0. That's in the second quarter. Gulf Coast has extended its lead 21-0 over Delta. East Central now has taken a 17-14 lead, 17-14 over Northwest. Colin leading Holmes 21-10. That is a second quarter score. Again, all of our scores brought to you by our friends at Anderson Design Center off of Highway 98 near the Oak Grove Optimus Park. End over ender will be fielded right at the goal line. Let's see how the Wildcats defend this one. Much better up across the 25-yard line. Making the tackle there for Pearl River on special teams play is Darrell Luter, the freshman out of Oak Grove. Seems like we've called Oak Grove a lot tonight. And it's been recently, the relationship that Coach Egger has developed with some of the football players in Oak Grove, because a lot of the Warriors used to go to Jones. But really, the Oak Grove High School is in the old Pearl River district. Remember when they had districts?
Absolutely.
Oak Grove was in that district, and that relationship obviously has mended. And a lot of Oak Grove players choosing to play junior college football here at Pearl River. 1st and 10 now for the Indians with 10 minutes flat left to go here in the second quarter. On the quarterback keeper. Taking it ahead is Bell. The Wildcats kind of onto him a little bit. He was able to wiggle his way over the right side for a couple of yards. We'll bring up a 2nd down and 8.
Again, on his first 6 carries, Kelly, 38 yards and a touchdown. His prior 3 carries until that one, he had gone backwards 25 yards. So I'd say that they've made an adjustment. So far tonight, 10 carries for 16 yards now overall.
On 2nd down, they go from the shotgun this time. Fakes the handoff. Play action throws across the middle, incomplete. And honestly, David, it looked like Hayden Bryce might have gotten held just a little bit by the Wildcat defense from where I saw, but might have been just might have just looked a lot more severe up here than down there. So third down coming up.
Might have been a little contact right there, but
Yeah.
nonetheless, right now, Kelly, Itawamba's quarter, they need to throw the football to get back into this, but right now, 3 of 15 for 23 yards so far in the early going.
And Bell, he's a freshman. He's learning tonight. Bell, flush from the pocket, runs, tries to get to the sideline. He will not get there. Gets up to about the 30 before he was pushed backwards, again by the Pearl River defense. And there for the Wildcats is Savaris Snow. We talked about him, the exciting youngster out of Newton, Mississippi. His brother Cedric Snow played at Southern Miss.
Well, beyond the adjustments that Pearl River has made from the early going, Kelly, the bottom line is going back to what I just said. When your quarterbacks are 3 for 15, and actually LaDerrick Bell, who was in, has yet to complete a pass, there's no respect from the defensive backs or linebackers. They're able to come up when the quarterback scrambles.
Hayden Franklin with the punt, and the fair catch made for by Stringfellow, or called for rather, at the 40-yard line. So Pearl River with a 60-yard field to work with 8 minutes, 45 seconds left to go here before halftime. Coming up on the Hardee's halftime show, a special presentation to the state champions at Pearl River last year, and there were many, including the men's basketball team and the men's baseball team. And then we'll be talking with Jeff Long, the athletic director here at Pearl River, and there's so much to talk about.
You were talking on the way down here. They've got an exciting player on the basketball team coming up this year.
Eric Thornton, if you've not gotten
the rich getting richer.
If you have not gotten to see Eric Thornton play basketball at Pearl River, you are cheating yourself. He is a electric, dynamic young player. 1st and 10 for Pearl River. Callus still at quarterback. Gives it to Thompson.
Here he goes.
Thompson to the outside, looking for a blocker. Cuts it back inside. Thompson diving inside the 40 to the 35-yard line. And Thompson thinks he got his face mask pulled, but he'll take the gain anyway. A big one for PRC. And they are at the 37-yard line officially of Itawamba.
7 carries for $174 so far. We haven't even played a quarter and a half of football. Ron Thompson is knocking on 200's door.
1st and 10. Callus again to Thompson. They'll try the left side this time. Flag down. Thompson tripped up inside the 30 to about the 28. This will be a hold against the Wildcats would be my guess.
Yeah, it's a hold or a block in the back, Kelly. I mean, it was exactly where the referee's flag was thrown dead into the middle of that line. And when Ron Thompson got some breathing room to the outside, here came the flag. It would be shocking if this wasn't against Pearl River, and it is.
Robert Eakins, our white hat tonight, will march the Wildcats back to about the 45-yard line. It's almost like this Pearl River offense is so ready to go that they're making some mistakes of concentration, not very often, but mistakes of concentration because they know they're on a roll here.
7-yard actual penalty right there is, according to the referees, the foul occurred a little bit down the field from the line of scrimmage, so not quite the full 10-yard mark-off you're used to seeing.
Callus this time hands it off to Purnell, and he gets snuffed before he can even get back to the line of scrimmage, leading the onslaught there for the Indians. Making a charge from the defensive line is Cortavius Ivy, the sophomore defensive lineman out of Amory.
Jesse Purnell is probably thinking, wait a minute, guys. I've carried the ball twice, and the minute the ball's got in my hands, I've been swarmed. Where are those holes you're creating for Ron Thompson? I'd like to run through one of those.
2nd down again for Callus. Callus is, after having several passes sail on him late in the first quarter, the Wildcats have been content to run the football, but they've been successful doing so. Callus wanting to get rid of a swing pass, but dumped, and streaking his way in on the blitz is Tay Carruthers, the sophomore linebacker out of Aberdeen. It's a loss on the play, and the Wildcats are stuck in reverse here on this series.
Well, simply put, though, Kelly, that was the right thing to do because he was trying to swing it out to Purnell, number 1, totally covered by a linebacker who came to pick him up. Then he had a moment to look down the field for a second to his first option. He was completely covered, and by that time, it was Callus who was the one who was covered up, but a good job of not forcing the ball with a 20. Remember, you got a 20-point lead, Kelly. You don't want to give anything free to the team that's trailing by 20. Take the sack and move on.
3rd down and forever here for the River Cats. The clock moving with 6:32, and the whistle blows again.
Might be a delay of game.
It is. The Wildcats have struggled at times getting the play called in from the sideline. But that's one of the few things that Pearl River has struggled with tonight because they've been clicking on all the other cylinders. 27-7, the good guys over Itawamba.
You talk about being right back where you started, Kelly. This is where the drive began. Unfortunately, though, they have to go all the way to the 28-yard line. It is 3rd down and 29.
And they hand it off. And Wash has it, and he actually slipped and fell as he got up toward midfield. And we got another penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage.
This will be against the Wildcats. They had 2 men in motion. So the decision is, does Itawamba want to keep this backward march continuing and make it 3rd and 34 again? Or do they want to go ahead and just take the 5-yard gain, get the punting unit on the field, and get their offense back out there?
I'll tell you, the way things are going for Itawamba, if I were the Indians, I would decline this. And it's an illegal shift against the Wildcats, and they will decline it. Itawamba would rather get the football back and not let this explosive offense for Pearl River get the ball again, at least in this series. So the punting unit checks in for Pearl River, led by Heath Mosley, the freshman out of Wayne County.
Well, you look at this Pearl River offense, Kelly, 7 carries for a yard. That's everybody else but Ron Thompson. Ron Thompson's carried the ball 7 times also, but for 174 positive yards. What a difference a player makes. 7 for 1 single yard for the Wildcats, but Thompson himself has 7 for 174 and a score.
Cortez Davis back to receive it and track it for Itawamba. He's at the 20-yard line.
You know, and Mosley has had a really good game kicking the football tonight, Kelly. I mean, this is his first game kicking for the Wildcats. What a great name as a kicker to have with Mosley, as he is a trivia question answer, is the last full-time straightaway kicker in the NFL back for the Washington Redskins. Believe it or not, he will be. He was the MVP of the league during the strike season as a trivia question, the only place kicker to ever win MVP in the NFL.
Boy, you were really blowing some dust off of the old trivia book there. Mark Mosley, yeah. I remember probably the most memorable straight-on kicker in the modern era was George Blanda.
Yep.
Remember the old man with the Oakland Raiders?
Well, the younger audience out there is like, what are you talking about?
George Blanda kicked till he was nearly 50 years old, or he might have been 50.
And he had the square toe on the end of his shoe too.
And Tom Dempsey, who at one time had the longest field goal kick, was born with a birth defect. Here's a great spiral kick back to about the 9-yard line. What a kick by Mosley.
47 yards and no return, Kelly. Talk about flip the field position. The Itawamba is now going to start inside their own 10.
Postscript to that Tom Dempsey story, you know, he kicked the 63-yarder against the Lions when he played for New Orleans Saints back in the old Tulane Stadium. And I remember, and again, Mr. Dempsey was born with a
half of a foot.
Right. And so I remember people saying, well, does that mean if he had a whole foot, he'd have kicked it 126? I don't think that math necessarily works.
I don't think it works quite that way.
6:02 left to go in the half. The Wildcats in control of this one, 27-7, as Spencer Unruh, the sophomore quarterback of Caledonia, back at the control for the Indians. And they do have to pass. Looks out, and that pass is way short. That one was put in the turf. Jamel Thomas, the intended receiver. He was covered by Cenarius Snow, the freshman out of Newton.
Kelly, there's a long way to go in this football game. I mean, an entire half, 6 minutes basically left to go in this one. But you really have Itawamba where you want them. I mean, where they're not able to mix their – if you're Itawamba, you almost have to resist going to the passing game exclusively, because right now you're 3 for 16 anyway. You got to stick with the run and hope your defense can hold it close. But if they go to the pass exclusively, the Wildcats have a huge advantage.
And the way that quarterback continues to drop back, you know that it's a screen pass, and that's a pass to Hiram Wadlington that is incomplete. But again, he had to pull the trigger quickly because the pressure for Pearl River was coming.
Unruh's third completion was on his 6th attempt. He has now missed on 8 straight, combined with LaDerrick Bell's 3 straight. That's 11 consecutive incompletions for the Indians quarterbacks.
3rd down and 10 upcoming with 5:50 left to go in the first half. Yes, the first half, we got a late start. We were scheduled for a 6 o'clock kick, but the game got underway at 6:45 because of a late afternoon thunderstorm here at Pearl River. 3rd down, Unruh puts this wounded duck up in the air, and I think it got tipped at the line of scrimmage. So it drops innocently to the ground, and the punting unit will come in for Itawamba, but the Indians will be backed up nearly to the baseline of their own end zone.
Hit as he threw, but Kelly, he was just throwing. If that ball would have been thrown cleanly, it was being thrown into coverage. The Wildcats had everyone covered. You've got 5 or 6 guys rushing. You got 5 or 6 guys defending. You're not even paying attention to the run, and the defense, again, playing a spectacular first half against the pass.
Great spiral kick there by the Indians, and tracked and downed by Stringfellow at the 45, but this a great field position for Pearl River, and you can't help but think that the Wildcats could get this one in for another 6.
Kelly, if you were with us through the whole broadcast, some of our listeners, first 4 possessions, we're talking in the first quarter, the average starting field position for Pearl River was the 17. They started at the 19, 24, 10, and 22. Kelly, in this quarter, twice they've started at their own 40, and now twice they've started in Itawamba territory. That's about as big of a field position flip as you're going to get from one quarter to the next.
And remember, this Itawamba team was one of 3 teams in the North last year that only lost 1 game up there. The other 2, of course, were Northwest and East Mississippi, the #1 team in the country. Give and go to Ron Thompson. Tries the middle part of the field. This time Ron can't get away from pursuit. He gets about 3 on the play. He was tackled there by Michael Harrison, the freshman out of Hamilton High School.
And if you're Pearl River right here, Kelly, you're getting down in around 5 minutes to go. Remember, Pearl River gets the football to start the second half. You put any points on the board here and get the football right back, you can really almost put this game away very early on in the second half.
2nd down and 9 after the gain of one. The clock working its way down to about 5 minutes left to go here in the first half. Callus calls for the football. Look out, it's a high snap, and he falls back on top of it at the 45-yard line. So again, one of the things that Ryan Trevathan, the offensive coordinator for Pearl River, has to be scratching his head about is there's 2 straight series now that the Wildcats are not moving the ball forward. In fact, they're going backward.
Well, the defense is still continuing its high level of play, but the offense has stagnated a little bit for sure, Kelly. And again, you're up 20, but as a football coach, you know, hey, we have had great field position these last 4 possessions, and you're about to have the 3rd time of those 4 great field position starts kind of go by the boards. You want to put a team away when you have the chance.
5 seconds left on the play clock. Callus gets it, wants to throw. Look out, he's in trouble, and he's dropped back at the 34-yard line. Great pursuit there by Itawamba, led by Rico Pickens, the sophomore linebacker out of Independence. So the punting team comes on for Pearl River. The Wildcats have not been able to take advantage of good starting position.
The last time when they punted, Kelly, it was 4th and 24. This time when they punt, it's 4th and 28. So you saying that they've got it stuck in reverse, obviously playing out with how far behind the chains they've been trying to get first downs.
This kick is away, and actually the snap was mishandled just a little bit by Mosley, but was able to get a rocket launched, and it goes out of bounds at the 18-yard line. Boy, another big break for Pearl River.
Kelly, that ball
should have been blocked.
Should have been blocked.
Yeah.
I don't know how it got through the arms of the Itawamba special teams unit, but not only did it get through the arms, a 46-yard punt with no return. Mosley is having a spectacular first half kicking the football.
Although he probably has no idea who Mark Mosley is. He's that young. 3 minutes, 30 seconds left to go.
There's Google. These kids know how to use Google.
Oh, yeah. You can't ask trivia questions anymore because it's just who's quickest to Google it.
Right.
1st and 10 for the Indians. It's LaDerrick Bell at quarterback, wants to throw, lofts this one to the far sideline, looking for his receiver, and that pass is caught. No, it's incomplete. Out of bounds. He made the catch, but he was out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. But what a beautiful toss there by Bell down the far sideline.
It was a beautiful throw, but it was great defense as well, Kelly. I mean, because they basically rode him and rode him and rode him to the edge, to the boundary, and when he finally made the catch, he just didn't have any more room to get his foot down, and it's a great incompletion right there on some great defense by Pearl River.
Savara Snow, the freshman that we've talked about out of Newton, the Indians continue to try to pick on him on that far side of the field. 3:23 left to go in the first half. 2nd down and 10. Bad snap. The ball is on the ground. And I think they're still battling for it. There's a scrum there.
Yeah, I think the quarterback had it in his hands, but he really didn't have it secured, and somebody just ripped it away from him. But they're going to give the possession back to Itawamba, but that was a good job defensively. Even though he had his hands on it, just swatted away. I mean, if you don't hear the whistle, Pearl River nearly got themselves a turnover right there deep in Itawamba territory.
But with that heavy thunderstorm that came through about 5 o'clock this afternoon, you see that scarring on the field as the turf beginning to get chewed up a little bit. 3rd down and about 13, maybe 14. For the Indians, who have not had a lot of things go right since very early in this contest. Wanting to throw again is Bell. Bell on the screen. The pass is caught, but the Wildcats are there to swarm him under at the 20-yard line.
I believe that was Dinkins, Kelly. The good news is that breaks a streak of 13 consecutive incompletions, but the bad news for Itawamba, when you need 15 yards and only get 6, the punting unit coming back out on the field and punting deep in their own territory.
Boy, Hayden Franklin is earning his pay tonight. He's 5'10", 202 pounds. So he is a stockily built punter back there at the 5-yard line for the Indians. Perfect snap. The Wildcats don't bring any pressure. This not one of his better punts. And the Wildcats really kind of blocked away from being able to return this ball. The Indians covered it beautifully and will down it at the 41-yard line.
So 1:46 to go, Kelly. Remember, Pearl River has burned 2 timeouts. So they're working with 1 timeout, but still plenty of time. The only negative is, though, I believe, though, if Pearl River wants to put any points on the board, it's going to have to be via the touchdown, because right now Pearl River has tried 3 extra points, the old conventional extra points, 1 for 3, and Kelly, the first one that went through was like a Tim Hardaway jump shot back in the 90s. It was ugly but effective. It was a knuckleball that just made it inside the left upright. So right now we haven't seen a lot to be confident about in the kicking game, so probably going to have to go to the distance if they're going to score before the buzzer.
That extra point was a kick that would make Phil Necro proud.
Yes.
As we go back in the sports logs. Ooh, a handoff up the middle, and man, you talk about getting hammered. Ron Johnson was hit in the backfield by Keyshawn Parker, the freshman linebacker out of Calhoun City.
Be interesting to see now if Itawamba is thinking timeout. Maybe one more stoppage here, but boy, again, Pearl River behind the sticks. Both of these defenses have all of a sudden basically taken over. Neither offense can go forward.
Yeah, but with that loss, Thompson still near about 200 yards in the first half. 2nd down and 12. Callus throws across the middle, throws behind the receiver, incomplete. And when Callus has missed tonight, he's either missed high or missed behind the receivers. There, his intended target was Tyler Polk, the sophomore wide receiver out of St. Martin.
It's the 2nd time in a row on his attempts to Polk, Kelly, that Polk's been there. He's been open. The pass just has not been on the mark. Right there, that could have been a good 15, 20-yard gain and possibly gotten this Pearl River offense back in gear. But now just trying to move the sticks and keep their chances alive to score here with 1:09 to go.
3rd and 12. Callus has time this time. Can't find anybody open. Will decide to run it. Gets toward the near sideline. Cuts it back inside and is pushed down at about the 48.
Well, now if you're Pearl River, if Itawamba's not going to call a timeout here, Kelly, why not just let the clock run down all the down to about 10, 15 seconds, take the timeout, and maybe you go for it right here.
Well, it'll be about 3 yards.
Now Itawamba, I believe, finally does call a timeout, but in general, that was not the best use of a timeout. They basically let almost 20 seconds run off the clock right there. So now down to 44 seconds left to go first half. So if the Wildcats can basically just get this punt away. They should get into the halftime locker room with this 20-point lead.
You can keep up with all the scores, statistics, schedules, and standings of everything in the MACJC by logging on to JUCOweekly.org. That's JUCOweekly.org. You can download their app where they have live scoring as scores happen across the toughest league in America. And keeping you posted now as we're underway at 2018 as to how your favorite junior college team might doing. Again, it's JUCOweekly.org. You can download that app. I think you'll like what you see. If you're a fan of junior college athletics, nowhere else to go and no other app to have than the one, JUCOweekly.org. 4th down and about 3 to go. The Wildcats will indeed kick this one away. Indians bringing pressure here, but can't get through, and then it's another great punt back at the 7-yard line.
This is a punting clinic.
Man, how about Heath Mosley?
Not many times, seriously, this is not sarcastic, not many times are you saying, wow, the punter. But, I mean, these punts are not just good, they are fantastic. They have hang time. They're these beautiful tight spirals, and they have pinned Itawamba deep 3 and 4 and 5 times in a row. Mosley's had a great first half.
The special teams unfairly lots of times don't get necessarily noticed when they're playing well as a unit, but boy, when they stink, everybody notices how bad the special teams are. So here the Indians now with 38 seconds left to go. They would be wise probably just to take a knee here with Lee at quarterback, but they're going to try to run it. Lee to the outside up to about the 15-yard line. Check that, LaDerrick Bell, the freshman quarterback out of Anniston, Alabama. Bell gains about 7 on the play, but the clock continues to roll here. So they might try to zing one down the field as far as they can go and hope to maybe get a flag. But this first half has been all Wildcats. They'll run it up across the 20. Under normal circumstances, it would be a first down. And they'll actually stop the clock to move the chains, but then they'll start the clock again. The string of pearls and the pride of the river band, the spirit of the river, rather, the spirit of the river, and the string of pearls getting ready to perform. We've got 2 quarters in the book here at Dobie Holden Stadium at halftime. It's Pearl River 27, Itawamba 7. We're going to take a 2-minute timeout, and then we'll be back and join it. Captain D will have his installment of the Captain's Log, and then on the Hardy's halftime show, we'll be talking with Pearl River Athletic Director Jeff Long. Again, the Wildcats lead at 27-7 at half. Back in a moment, you're watching Pearl River Wildcat football on PRCCmedia.com.
It was one-on-one education. The teachers were fantastic. Had a great training and was able to move straight from there to a senior college and there to medical school without any steps or falls. I tell my patients there's no better education than they could get anywhere than at Pearl River Community College.
I was on the string of pearls. I had several friends that I made lifelong throughout the 2 years that I was there. I ended up majoring in medical technology and just loved everything about Pearl River.
Choose a college. Go online. Apply for college. Go to class. Keep fit. Go skydiving. Scratch that. Meet new friends. Grab a power lunch. Take a break. Study, study, study. Sleep. Wake up. Take a test. Graduate. Get a job.
Once I got there, I realized that there was a lot more to Pearl River Community College than just small town, campus in Poplarville, and football. The academic courses were challenging. I learned a great deal during my time at Pearl River. I also met my wife.
Gave me an opportunity to succeed. The small classroom environment really set the tone that I needed for the one-on-one individual attention to be successful. And quite honestly, it really paved the foundation for me to continue all the way through graduate school. I felt this is exactly what I needed, and Pearl River gave me exactly what I needed to succeed.
Back at Dobie Holden Stadium on the campus of Pearl River Community College in Poplarville. Kelly Sanner with you. Captain D. David Sutton will be rejoining us in a moment with his installment of the Captain's Log, his first for 2018. But before the Hardy's halftime show comes your way, let's update the Anderson Design Center scoreboard. Other teams and games involved in action across the MACJC, the toughest league in America. East Central is in Senatobia tonight, and the Warriors, who really struggled last season, losing their last 7 games in a row, they are leading the Rangers up in Senatobia 17-14. East Central 17, Northwest 14. That is a halftime score. In Ellisville tonight, the JCJC Bobcats opening up against the Tigers of Coahoma. Jones 21, Coahoma nothing. That is a halftime score. East Mississippi ranked number 1 in the country in the preseason in junior college football. East Mississippi walloping Hines 23-0. That is a halftime score. East Mississippi at home in Scuba, leading Hines 23-0. Down at the Gulf Coast tonight, in Perkinston, the Gulf Coast Bulldogs leading Mississippi Delta 35-0. Gulf Coast and other teams, including Co-Lin in the South, are expected to really battle Pearl River for first place in the South. Gulf Coast leading Delta tonight 35-0 in Perk. Meanwhile, in Summit tonight, Northeast having to make the longest drive of the week. The Northeast Tigers leading Southwest 14-6. That is a halftime score. Northeast 14, Southwest 6. And the Co-Lin Wolves at home tonight against Holmes. Co-Lin leading Holmes 21-13. Co-Lin 21, Holmes 13. Of course, here on our campus at Pearl River, as the Spirit of the River gets ready to perform along with the String of Pearls, the Pearl River Wildcats lead the Itawamba Indians 27-7. In a moment, we'll tell you how we got there on Captain D's log. Coming up in just a little while, we'll be talking with Athletic Director Jeff Long of Pearl River Community College about all the things going on and all things that are Pearl River. As you enjoy the performance of the band, the Spirit of the River, Captain D. David Sutton with another installment of the Captain's Log to tell us how we got to 27-7.
Well, early on, Kelly, and I mean very early on, Itawamba actually had the advantage on the first couple of possessions. I mean, they started in great field position really throughout the entire first quarter, but they took their second possession, 54 yards, put a score on the board. It ended up being a 7-yard run by their second-string quarterback, Laderick Bell. The PAT was good. And at the 7:59 mark of the first quarter, it was the Indians leading by a score of 7-0. The good news for the Pearl River, that was the last score that Itawamba would be able to put on the board as Pearl River answered and answered quickly. They started a drive deep back in their own territory on the 24-yard line, but they put together a 5-play, 76-yard drive with Ron Thompson really shooting this, getting the offense kind of blown out of a cannon with a 63-yard touchdown run. Pearl River actually decided to go for 2, and they got it on the 2-point conversion throw to KJ Breland. Boy, he took a lick, too, and held on to the football. And so at the 6:12 mark of the first quarter, Pearl River led by a score of 8-7. On their ensuing possession, they took the football after getting a 3-and-out of Itawamba's offense. They took the ball on their own 10-yard line, deep in their own territory, but Ron Thompson, once again, on the very first play from scrimmage, took the ball 70 yards on a run knocked out at the Itawamba 20-yard line, and after that long run, didn't take the Wildcats long to cash in, as on the very next play, KJ Breland, off of a pass from Callus, the 20-yard score on a 2-play 90-yard drive put the Wildcats up 15-7 at the 2:52 mark to go of the first quarter. That's how the first quarter scoring would come to an end. In the second quarter, it was the defense's turn. An air-mailed snapped on a 3rd down went over the head of Itawamba's quarterback, Laderick Bell, into the end zone it went. 2 or 3 people had a chance at it, but Eli Stringfellow was able to make the make the recovery in the end zone for the score. The PAT was no good, but at the 13:42 mark to go in the second quarter, Pearl River led it by a score of 21-7. And then the offense put one more score on the board after getting some pretty good starting field position. The field position just switched. I'll tell you about that in just a moment from the first quarter to the second quarter. But the only offensive score of the second quarter came off the hands of Pearl River, a 4-yard touchdown pass from Callus to the tight end Mary. The PAT once again was missed, though, and at the 10:08 mark left to go in the second quarter, Pearl River was really rolling at that point, 27-7. But at that point, the defense really, for both sides, kind of took over. No more scoring and really no more threats to score in the first half. And so that's where we're at 27-7. Individual statistics, Cooper Callus for Pearl River, 6 of 13 for 34 yards and a couple of touchdown passes, one of them to KJ Breland, the other one to Justin Mary. Rushing the football, well, really it's just Ron Thompson, as 4 other Wildcats besides Ron Thompson have carried the football 10 times, but they actually have negative yardage. Ron Thompson, on the other hand, 9 carries, 173 yards, and a touchdown. On the flip side of things, the defense is doing a great job holding Itawamba's quarterback combo of Unrow and Bell to 4 of 20 for just 29 yards. They also have an interception and recovered a fumble in the end zone for a touchdown. Overall, Pearl River in the first quarter had 165 yards of offense, only 41 in the second quarter, though. So 196 in the first half for Pearl River, 162 on the ground, 34 through the air, while Itawamba, 89 yards in the first quarter, only 27 yards of offense given up by this Wildcat defense in the second quarter. So overall, it's 87 on the ground, 29 through the air for Itawamba. And as far as field position is concerned, Pearl River, in the first quarter, their average starting field position was the 17-yard line. In the second quarter, they actually started in Itawamba's territory at the 48. You hope that trend continues, but what you do also hope continues is that Pearl River just continues to dominate, because after that first score for Itawamba, Kelly, nothing doing really for the offense after that. They lead at 27-7 at the half.
First installment of the Captain D's Log brought to you by Hardee's in Poplarville, also the home of the Red Burrito, which sponsors the Red Burrito Red Zone. At Hardee's, they make their buns fresh daily, and you also have to try out the Fruit Loop Donuts. If you're familiar with the breakfast cereal Fruit Loops, then you'll be familiar with the Hardee's Breakfast Donuts. They look just like Fruit Loops that you get in the breakfast cereal box, and they taste just like them as well. A sensation all across the country, the new Hardee's Fruit Loop Donuts, as you see the Spirit of the River and the String of Pearls performing their tribute to Cool and the Gang here at halftime, as the Hardee's halftime show continues with Pearl River leading 27-7. Joining us Mike's side now is the athletic director at Pearl River, Jeff Long, who I dare say has had the busiest job of anybody here at Pearl River in the offseason. And historically speaking, probably more things going on at the college now than ever before between academic years. And as he catches his breath, he actually, you can't see him because he's not on camera, but he's sweating, his forehead and everything. You got a lot of things going on. Jeff, welcome. Good to have you here.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you. Big night.
Man,
Big
where
night.
do we even start? Let's start with volleyball. Women's volleyball coming to the campus here in Poplarville.
Yeah, we're super excited about volleyball. It's a ton of local interest. And to be frank, you know, to being a community college, we've got some great community surrounding schools that participate in women's volleyball, and that's going to help us get a leg up. But Hancock County is just a huge volleyball county with OLA and with Hancock High School winning multiple state championships and competing every year. The interest is there, and you know, we want to provide another avenue for student athletes, and so, you know, we stepped out and we're the first Mike Jack school to do it.
So a lot of people might be watching going, well, if you're the only Mac Jack school to do it, who in the world are they going to play, and how will that work?
Yeah, so the first year we'll be an NJCAA sanctioned school. We will play. There are 9 schools in Alabama Community College Association that play. So we're going to play some schools there. We also have, you got William Carey now with a team, and Southern Miss, and Millsap, some of the schools up that way who have freshman teams, JV teams. So we're going to play some of those, and then you have the Florida Panhandle, which we'll step over there and play some of those Division I.
What about Louisiana? No volleyball in Louisiana?
Yeah, they do have a couple schools that participate in Division I, which we'll be able to play as well. The closer ones don't have it, but a couple of them over in Northwest Louisiana do. So we'll play them as well. The key the first couple of years is going to be finding games, and we got to be creative with our schedule. We got to play some tournaments where we can get some matches in. But we feel like we're going to do it, and I feel like we're going to be a powerhouse here in about 3 or 4 years in volleyball.
And with the MAC, Jack, if you look at the history of the league, it's like all the dominoes are ready to fall.
Yeah.
All the other schools and all the other athletic directors are just waiting for the first domino to be pushed. And when it comes to girls volleyball, you guys have done that.
I think so. I think they'll be within the next 2 years. I think there's going to be multiple schools jump in and do it. So, but we did want to be the first ones, and we felt like we were ready to do it, and we're going to provide that for our students.
And if you have not seen the upgrades at the softball field and baseball field, tons of activity going on there in anticipation of the 2019 seasons.
Yeah, it's been a busy all season. We just finished up our soccer facility. And as you know, and as those who visit our campus know, we have a complex where we have baseball, softball, and soccer all right there. So we had a grand master plan down there, and it's coming into play now. We finished the soccer facility. We finished softball a couple of years ago, which is one of the best facilities in the state for our indoor and coaches offices, and then. Baseball is upgrading 2 things right now. They're actually rolled out the first piece of turf today, and I think they'll be done probably Sunday with our infield and foul ground turf. And then they're also really coming up with our new grandstand. All the concrete's poured on the center section. The bricks halfway up on that facility, which will be 2 very large suites. And you saw it the other day. We were over there, and then a big, nice press box, and that's going to be all state of the art when we get in there and finish it up. So,
why did you look at me when you said large suites?
He made that up. I didn't.
Actually, and right here at Dobie Holden Stadium, everybody has been beholden of this beautiful new Megatron scoreboard.
Man, we're really happy with the scoreboard. We were a little bit late getting it up, and that's how these projects go. But we got it up on Sunday. We've been playing with it all week, and of course you're always anxious for that first game when you get it out there. But it's been a big hit. It's just a phenomenal. It's an 18 foot by 33 foot video board only. That the entire board is actually 37 foot tall and 33 foot wide. So we can, and it's got a great sound system to it. That was a big upgrade for us. I think the people in North Poplarville may not like it as much for these nights with that bass, but yeah, it's phenomenal. Just it really changes the atmosphere at the stadium having that jumbotron.
Well, you say they might not the people in North Poplarville might not like it, but it's almost like you're at a game but not having to buy a ticket.
Yeah, that's true. They can hear what's going on here from their house.
And Jeff, lots of times players get a lot of credit for the things that they do, and athletic directors don't. So we're getting ready to give you some credit that you probably don't even know about. To your right is basketball coach Chris Oney, who is presenting you with a men's state championship basketball ring. Surprise!
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Look at the size of that thing, man.
I don't think anybody was as proud of our teams who won state champ, because I know how difficult it is to win in this league. And last year to win, we participate in 4 men's sports in the NJCAA, and in 3 of them we won state championships out of the other 15 schools. And it's just talking about basketball in particular. We go out and we have a freshman-laden team. Hit a few bumps in the middle of the season, but just turned it on there at the end, and that was really sweet to go out and win that state championship. And I appreciate the coaches' extremely hard work and things like this. I like to be I don't like to be out in the front, as you well know, but man, I love winning, and winning those state championships make me happy.
Well, and Chris Oney, the men's basketball coach, is standing right here. I didn't mean to put pressure on Coach Oney, but earlier in the broadcast I talked about what a dynamic electric player I think Eric Thornton is. If people have not seen Eric, now look, we got great other players. They get that, but Eric Thornton, and this is just me, so if you want to blame me, you can, but Eric Thornton to me is one of the most dynamic, electric young men you've ever seen play basketball, and if you have not seen him play, you're cheating yourself. And you're going to get to see him play this year. Every basketball night at the White is magical, and we hope that you'll put that on your calendar for this coming season. Athletic Director Jeff Long has been our guest on the Hardee's Halftime Show. Did you know that every time you go to Hardee's as a Pearl River student or faculty member, you get a discount every time just by showing your ID? Every single day you get that discount, and you're never limited as to how many times you can take advantage of that discount. So keep that Pearl River student or faculty ID with you for your discounts at Hardee's or the Red Burrito. And at Hardee's, they make those buns fresh daily. You can smell them when you walk in the morning for breakfast. And, of course, now try the Fruit Loop Donuts. And I am here to tell you, I have had some of the Fruit Loop. There isn't a donut I don't like, but those are especially good. If you're familiar with the Fruit Loop breakfast cereal, you're going to love the Fruit Loop Donuts. Hardee's, the sponsor of our halftime show, the Pearl River Wildcats leading Itawamba 27-7. We'll be back after this 2-minute timeout. 2 minutes down the line, you're watching Pearl River Wildcat football on PRCCmedia.com.
One-on-one education. The teachers were fantastic. Had a great training and was able to move straight from there to a senior college and there to medical school without any steps or falls. I tell my patients there's no better education than they could get anywhere than at Pearl River Community College.
I was on the string of pearls. I had several friends that I made lifelong throughout the 2 years that I was there. I ended up majoring in medical technology and just loved everything about Pearl River.
Choose a college. Go online. Apply for college. Go to class. Keep fit. Go skydiving. Scratch that. Meet new friends. Grab a power lunch. Take a break. Study, study, study. Sleep. Wake up. Take a test. Graduate. Get a job.
Once I got there, I realized that there was a lot more to Pearl River Community College than just small town, campus in Poplarville, and football. The academic courses were challenging. I learned a great deal during my time at Pearl River. I also met my wife.
Gave me an opportunity to succeed. The small classroom environment really set the tone that I needed for the one-on-one individual attention to be successful. And quite honestly, it really paved the foundation for me to continue all the way through graduate school. I felt this is exactly what I needed, and Pearl River gave me exactly what I needed to succeed.
Back at Dobie Holden Stadium as we get ready for the second half of play. The Wildcats over the Indians 27-7. Next week, the Wildcats will be home against the #1 team in the country, East Mississippi. And right now, East Mississippi throttling Hines 43-0. That is a second quarter score.
And Kelly, if you think they'll take their foot off the gas, you don't know who East Mississippi is. It could end up 86-0 at this rate.
Well, the Scuba Tech team out of East Mississippi come roaring in next Thursday night. A scheduled 6 o'clock kickoff, and we know there will be a big crowd on hand, but if you can't make it, we'll have it for you here on PRCC TV. The Indians, or PRCCmedia.com, I should say. The Indians getting ready to kick it off here to begin the second half of play.
Is Last Chance U still going?
It is, but not with East Mississippi.
Okay.
There's a school out of, kind of like Hard Knocks. They're spreading it around. Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's a team out of Independence, Kansas or something like that. But I think if memory serves, they've switched it up to where instead of having a really good team as featured, they have a really lousy team.
Ah.
All right, kind of switch it up. So here the Wildcats receive the football. Kick taken at the 10-yard line, coming right straight up the middle to about the 35-yard line, but a penalty marker down here at the point of the kick.
It's offsides, Kelly. You had not one but two Indians who were well past the line before the ball was kicked. So we'll see if Pearl River wants to take this pretty good starting field position or the penalty. I believe you can add it to the end of the run.
I was just going to say, I think if you could do that, that would be optimal for the Wildcats. As
Right now,
referee Robert Eakins.
the ball's on the 35-yard line at the moment. Yeah, if you can move it 5 more yards forward, that'd be great starting field position and continue the trend we talked about at the half, where in the second quarter, Pearl River's average starting field position actually was over the 50-yard line of Itawamba's, and they are able to do that. So there's a little rule book lesson for all of us that you can just tack it on to the end of the run.
Special thanks to some of our other sponsors, include Ramey's. Ramey's Food Markets, where there's a brand new one right across from campus that just opened here a week or so ago in Poplarville. Ramey's a big supporter of activities here at Pearl River Community College. Also, Pine Belt Chevrolet and Pine Belt Chrysler Jeep.
And the Poplarville Eye Center right down the road here on Main Street. Want to welcome them to the broadcast as well.
1st and 10 for the Wildcats. Twip receivers to the near side. Callus is still at quarterback. He hands it off, but things never really got developed there. And Thompson was hit behind the line of scrimmage for a loss of a yard on the play. Making the tackle there for the Indians is Atarius Moore, the sophomore linebacker out of Calhoun City.
Again, it's just the first play from scrimmage, Kelly, but that's just a brief continuation. In the second quarter, Kelly, but after about the 10-minute mark, neither team was able to even notch even a first down or two, much less any scores.
Callus wants to throw, dumps it across the middle. A pass is caught inside the 50 down to the 45-yard line. Making the reception is the tight end, Donovan Hickman, the sophomore out of Union, Mississippi. The Wildcats into the Indians' end of the field at the 45-yard line with a first down and 10-yard play upcoming.
14 yards on the pickup. Wasn't that a nice little design play right there? Got Hickman in some space with some blockers in front, and Callus was able to put the ball on the money.
Cooper Callus from the University of Missouri. We've got some movement on the Wildcat line. This will go against PRC. The River Cats will be guilty of movement here, and this will march them back 5 yards.
Only one penalty in the first half was called and accepted. That was technically more than a 5-yard mark off. It was a personal foul late hit, but that was a half the distance to the goal penalty, if you remember, basically. So almost every penalty in this ball game have been nothing but 5-yard mark-offs.
So the football back at the 50-yard line. The pigskin dissecting the 50. 1st and 15 for Pearl River. Play action, swing pass out into the right. Pass is caught. Pulling it up off of the turf and running forward is Tyler Polk. Polk gets down inside the 35 or near about the 35 and is pushed out of bounds, but that'll be another Wildcat first down.
Well, it's right on the sticks, Kelly. And Tyler Polk, Kelly, he had 2 catches for 2 yards in the first half, but he was open. The passes just didn't hit the mark right there, though. 15 yards on the pickup.
Another quick pass to the far sideline. That one is snagged. Breaking free and getting down inside the 20-yard line to about the 15. Another big gainer on the play there for Pearl River, and making the reception there is Keontae Payton, the sophomore wide receiver out of Brandon.
His first reception of the night, first reception of his career. 15 more yards, back-to-back 15-yard gains for Pearl River.
Callus will fake the handoff and take it himself. He gets swarmed under, but advancing down to about the 17-yard line. That'll be a pickup of about 3, bringing up a 2nd down and 7. Pearl River leading this contest 27-7, and really after about the first 2 series of this game, the Wildcats have taken charge and have never looked back. And now coming into the contest is Tavis Williams, the sophomore quarterback out of Harrison Central.
Had a couple of rushes in the first half, hasn't thrown a pass yet.
Fakes the handoff, will run it himself. Williams inside the 5, down to about the 4-yard line. Tavis Williams, they'll spot it at about the 5. That'll move the chains again. And Pearl River could be driving the first nail in the coffin of the Indians here, but they're working in a hurry-up offense. Tavis Williams fakes it to Thompson. He runs it himself, but maybe gets a yard.
Wanted to try to hit them with some pace right there, Kelly, get them back on their heels. But a good job by Itawamba right there and it was a quick snap too. A lot of times on these offenses, they'll get up to the line, but then they won't call the play very quickly. They did snap it quickly right there, but no gain on the carry. It's 2nd and goal from the 4.
And Cooper Callus checks back in. So does tight end Justin Mary. He's got a touchdown tonight. Justin Mary out of Oak Grove in the middle pack to the left there. 3 receivers there for Pearl River. Now Mary on the outside. Callus tries to roll left, can't find anybody. Now gets open to the right side, across the middle, and the pass is dropped, but we've got a penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage, or at the goal line, rather.
Kelly, you got to have some illegal men down the field, because when Callus broke contain to go back to the other side, if you're an offensive lineman, you got to think he's going to tuck it and run it. And I believe 3 or 4 offensive linemen ended up in the end zone when that ball was thrown, and that's exactly what the call is.
Stops the clock with 11:35 left to go here in the third quarter. Pearl River 27, Itawamba 7. Ted Egger, who serves as the defensive coordinator for this team, also the head coach. Justin Mary comes out, and checking in now is Dwayne Lee. Dwayne Lee was Justin Mary's teammate at Oak Grove.
Boy, Kelly, if the Wildcats could put a touchdown on the board here, this drive actually has almost been 4 minutes old now. So lengthy drive on the time of possession, and now trying to get a score on the board.
Second down and goal at the 9, and nearly deflected and caught by the Wildcat receiver. Callus had to pull the trigger a little bit too quickly. It was deflected by one of the defenders for Itawamba, and Dwayne Lee almost came up with it.
Well, that would have been a great result, but it should have been intercepted. I mean, the ball that was the defensive back. The old saying is defensive backs are defensive backs because they don't catch the ball very well. Well, right there, hit him in both of his hands. Could have been a big play for Itawamba to keep Pearl River off the board. And Kelly, with what we've seen out of the special teams game, I wonder if this is 4-down territory for Pearl River.
Third down and goal. Football is at about the 8-yard line. Man in motion their side. They had to get rid of it quickly. Slings it up toward the end zone. That ball is batted away. And again, Callus had to get rid of it early because he was about to get crunched. And the field goal unit comes in here for the Wildcats. So they will try a 3-pointer. This will be about a 25-yard attempt from William Lang, the sophomore soccer stylist out of Indianola Academy.
Again, if you joined us late, so far 1 for 3 on extra points, and the one that went in wasn't the prettiest thing, wasn't a work of art by any means. This will be a 26-yarder from the right hash.
All right, they'll take that extra yard to try to get the ball up in the air to prevent it from being blocked. It's a good snap. The hold is down. This kick is up, and this kick is no good. So the score remains 27-7. Pearl River over Itawamba. And the Indians take over with 10 minutes, 53 seconds left to go here in the third quarter.
Well, Kelly, if you're Itawamba, that was a big stop, because if the Pearl River gets a touchdown right there, that's a 4-score game on the road. That's getting into that realm of not doable. But not only do you force a field goal attempt, but the field goal attempt goes wide. Now, if you're the Indians, if you can put together a drive here and put some points on the board, you're right back in this ball game.
Bell is at quarterback, and he wants to run it himself, but the Wildcats are on to him. He is able to get 2 or 3 over right tackle, but stopping him there is Severus Snow. Also in there on the play for Pearl River is Kozma, the defensive back, the sophomore out of East Lake, Florida.
Again, LaDerrick Bell, his first 6 carries of the night, 6 carries, 39 yards, and a touchdown. His last 8 carries, Kelly, he's gone backwards 15 yards. A great job of adjusting to the running quarterback by the Wildcat defense.
Second down. Again, tries to run it. Gets up to about the 30. Stopped just short of the first down marker. Making the tackle is Johnson, the freshman defensive tackle out of Gulfport, a 280-pound freshman. The Gulfport Admirals this year at the high school have a really, really good team down there on the coast. So you'd expect Gulfport to be one of those Region 4, 6A teams down there. On third down. Handoff will be enough for Deshaun Dinkins.
Strength versus strength, Kelly. The Wildcats had a whole bunch of people up on the line. Dinkins and followed what little hole that he saw, stuck his helmet down, and he drove his way forward for 3 and a first.
But what you like here, if you're a Pearl River fan, is the fact that the Indians seem to be content on running the football, and that will be very costly when it comes to time on the clock. 1st and 10 for the Indians from the near hash mark, running north to South here at Dobie Holden on 1st and 10. The handoff, again, it is Dinkins, Deshaun Dinkins. Over left tackle on the play there by the Pearl River linebacker Reggie Williams out of Hattiesburg, the sophomore.
Well, if you're the Pearl River defense, you just don't want to give up a big play. You've got a 20-point lead, and if Itawamba is able to go 15, 18 plays and score, so be it. But like you said, Kelly, a whole lot of time would be chopped off the clock, and the Wildcats think if we could do that, somewhere along the line we'll get the stop.
The pass is complete. Quarterback Spencer Unruh gets it out into the left flat. Picked up maybe another 3 on the play. We'll bring up a 3rd down and 4 coming up. Big play here for the Pearl River defense, who have been relentless since giving up a touchdown, I believe, on the second series.
Second series of the ball game. Went down 7-0, and then it's been all Pearl River since.
Wildcats showing blitz here. We'll see what the defense does. It is a handoff, and things are pretty congested over there on that side of the line, and diving forward, maybe on a second effort.
Boy, what a great second effort. It is right at the stick. That initial momentum was stopped a good 2 yards short, Kelly. But a great job of keeping moving forward, I believe. That was Dinkins again. And so it is 4th down. This probably is worth a measurement right here coming up.
And they are going to bring the chain gang in.
And you got to think this is 4-down territory, down 20. I mean, down 20, still 8:08 to go. But with the way that your offense has performed, you don't know how many opportunities they're going to get here. And, of course, if Pearl River puts any more points on the board, it really gets difficult from there. But if this is short, which I think it might be a couple of links short, but they're about to stretch it, I believe they'd go for it.
Oh, they don't have to. They got it.
Oh, right at the nose of the football. How about that second ever? That was all Deshaun Dinkins.
1st and 10 for the Indians. The football at their own 42-yard line with 8:08 left to go here in the 3rd. Pearl River opening night 2018 of the MAC-JC season. Ted Egger has talked to anybody that will listen about how important it is to get that first game victory, what it means for your team's morale going into the rest of the year. It's like you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Unruh wants to pass, does. Had a receiver open, but the receiver was not anticipating the pass. It looks like that was Cortez Davis, or Cedric Bradford, rather.
Well, for some reason, Unruh threw it back shoulder. When had he just thrown it, right on the money, he was running free. That would have been a nice 20, 25-yard completion, but threw it toward his back shoulder, incomplete, and the woes of the quarterbacks for Itawamba continue. Now 5 of 23 for 29 yards and a pick so far in this ball game.
Spencer Unruh on 2nd down and 10 for the Indians. Wants to throw again, has time, zings it across the middle, and this pass is caught at the 30-yard line, breaking inside. And making that catch is Hayden Bryce. Now check that, Jamel Thomas. Jamel Thomas out of Caledonia with a big gainer. And I think somebody slipped, David. The coverage was there initially for Pearl River, but one of the Wildcats slipped on the wet turf down there.
43 yards on the completion, not even close. That's by far their best play, passing the football of the ball game, considering they only had 29 yards passing for the entirety of the game.
7:20 left to go here in the 3rd quarter. Unruh at quarterback, throws again, lofts it for the corner of the end zone, and we've got a face guarding call against Pearl River. 2 flags down on the play.
It's the right call, too.
Really outmatched as far as height goes was the freshman, Savaris Snow, out of Newton.
And a lot of missed opportunities, Kelly, by the Pearl River offense has got Itawamba on the brink of getting themselves back in this ball game. There's been 3 or 4 opportunities, 3 in the 2nd quarter, and of course 1 just a moment ago on the missed field goal, where Pearl River's had an opportunity to put more points on the board, has not. And right now, Itawamba less than 5 yards away now after the walk-off of putting in a score and getting back to within 2 scores.
Jamel Thomas was the man in the corner of the end zone there that was much taller than Thomas. Handoff, and the Wildcats are there to sniff it out. Trying for a second effort to the end zone, but not getting there. And, of course, every play that the Indians have to run here, David, in order to get into the end zone. That's just less time they'll have later on to try to cut into this deficit.
I believe, was that Dinkins? I believe that was actually LaDerrick Bell. They have both quarterbacks in the ball game. It was Bell on the carry, nearly getting the ball in the end zone there, but coming up about a couple 3 yards short.
Actually, it's Keegan Huddleston, the sophomore out of Shannon. Handoff again and into the end zone. Hiram Wadlington, number 9, into the end zone for the Indians. So the old momentum meter switching back to the team from the north.
Give Itawamba a lot of credit right there, Kelly. They needed that touchdown, and sure enough, they got it. They are right back in this football game, despite the fact that Pearl River's really been in control for the last 2+ quarters.
Unruh will have the hold, and they come through to block the kick, but again, Pearl River was over the line prematurely. Caleb Comer is the place kicker for Itawamba.
Question is, were they drawn off? It was someone on the right side of the line kind of bobbed his head a little bit. This might go against Itawamba, and it does.
So Comer will be called upon to make a short field goal, but only get 1 point credit for it. So Comer again out of the hold of Unruh, and wanting an explanation over there is head coach Sean Cannon.
I think, and again, I'll tell you what probably the argument is. Pearl River did start to come across that line. You know, in the old days, the defense could basically do whatever they wanted to. They could jump back there and do a dance in the backfield, and as long as they got back across, you could snap it and no penalty was called. But they've really kind of thrown that out. When a defensive player jumps forward and an offensive player flinches, that usually goes against the defense right there. But they did give it to Pearl River right there because they weren't quite across the line when the head moved.
The placement is down, the kick is up, and the kick is good. With 6:28 left to go in the third quarter, it's Pearl River 27, Itawamba 14. Back with the kickoff in a moment. You're watching Pearl River Wildcat football on PRCCmedia.com.
Southern Miss to the top. Let's go Eagles!
It's another exciting year as we support the Golden Eagle team.
We're all in for Southern Miss football.
How about you? You'll find the best teams for customer service and price.
At Pine Belt Chevrolet, Courtesy Ford, and Pine Belt Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. From tough trucks to your favorite SUVs to performance and fun.
We're all in
For you.
Southern Miss to the top.
Updating the Anderson Design Center scoreboard, East Central leading Northwest 24-14. That game is up in Senatobia. Colin over Holmes 28-20. That game is at Holmes. Other scores of games in action. Jones County having no problem with Coahoma, 28-0 JCJC at half. East Mississippi 37-0 at half over Hines. Gulf Coast leading Delta 49-0. That is in the fourth quarter. And Northeast clinging to a 1-point lead, 14-13 over Southwest. All of our scores brought to you by our friends at Anderson Design Center off of Highway 98 in Oak Grove near Oak Grove Optimus Park. So football season officially underway, and the kick is in the air. A running start at about the 15-yard line. Streaking forward and getting up to about the 40. Therefore, Pearl River is Severus Snow that we talked about from Newton.
Kelly, last 6 possessions for Pearl River. You ready? Started at their 40, the Itawamba 25, the 40, the Itawamba 47, the 40, and the 39. They come up with one single score, and that was on the 20. A 6-play drive is what it took them on the 25-yard field that they had. So the offense is really you haven't noticed it because they've been up 20, but they've really kind of been sputtering a little bit. They need to come up with a drive right here and put some points on the board to get the momentum back.
Callus is still at quarterback. Slings it out to the right side. Pass is caught. The receiver shaking one defender, but then runs into the arms of a couple of other, up for about a gain of 8 or 9. And making the catch there, it looks like is that the freshman wide receiver Hayden Bryce
I
out
believe
of
it
St.
was.
Joe's.
Yeah, his first catch as a Wildcat, and that was a nice play. His initial contact would have been a couple 3-yard gain. He ends up picking up 9 after the broken tackle.
Callus will hand it off this time, but nothing doing there as Thompson is gobbled up by big Marvin Willis, the 6'3", 334-pounder defensive lineman there for Itawamba.
He's gobbled up more than just a running back or two.
Indeed. Maybe he's had some of those Hardee's Fruit Loop donuts, just like I have. But you know what Marvin eats? Anything he wants to, right? A freshman 334-pounder. Third down and about 3. The referee is imploring the clock operator to get the clock moving. 14 seconds left on the play clock. Again, Callus asks for the football, rolls to his left, throws toward the sideline. The pass is incomplete. At the 50, it was intended for K.J. Breland, and it's a pass, frankly, that should have been caught.
Yeah, Breland's had a good game, Kelly, but that one was right through his hands. And, Kelly, that was a conversion they needed to make. The Itawamba now has come out, dodged a bullet on the missed field goal, scored themselves, and now they've gotten themselves a 3-and-out. You talk about the momentum earlier swinging Pearl River's way. I think that pendulum has absolutely swung back to the visitors for the moment.
But here's been Pearl River's secret weapon tonight besides Ron Thompson, Heath Mosley. The freshman punter has had a terrific night in his opener, and this kick gets away. This is a low kind of end-over-ender that's fielded at the 20-yard line. Breaking tackles, but then eventually brought down at the 20. So that's where they'll start, 1st and 10.
Well, that was dangerous by Austin Watkins right there. But you know what? It ends up being a good play because that end-over-ender kicked and took the bounce you wanted it to take if you're Pearl River. If he lets it go, it probably just snuggles down around the 10 or inside the 10, but instead might have only been a 1 or 2 yard return in the books, but he probably saved a good 10 to 12 yards of field position by taking that ball on the hop.
The tackle was made by Latravius McNair. Guess what high school he went to? McNair.
Mount Olive.
That's a great guess, and you're exactly right. Latravius McNair.
I didn't have to Google that one.
On special teams for Pearl River. Nice hole over the left side and a gain of about 6 on the play for the Indians, who continue to be patient here. Even though it's a 2-score game, making that run is Deshaun Dinkins for a gain of 5. 2nd down and 5. It is a 2-possession ball game.
Kelly, remember back in the second quarter when they were throwing it nonstop, and I said you have to resist that. It's still time in the ball game. They've gotten back to the running game, and it's working right now.
Handoff again. Try the left side again. Dinkins again. Dives on second effort. Might have gotten the first down. If not, he's just short. And they'll bring up a 3rd down play as the clock continues to dwindle. 4:24 left to go here in the 3rd. Pearl River now protecting a 27-14 lead.
That's a good word, Kelly, because even though they got up by 20, all of a sudden they seem to be in not attack mode anymore, but they are in protect mode.
3rd down and a yard. Unruh in there at quarterback, going out of the shotgun here with Dinkins shifted to his left as the spirit of the river cranks up down here to our right. The Wildcats showing blitz. Unruh under pressure. The ball batted down at the line of scrimmage, but a penalty marker comes down late.
But hold on, Kelly. The ball was deflected. So I don't know if this is going to be a penalty against Pearl River right now. It's against Severus Snow. But
I did see the linesman go to the back judge and say that the ball is an inadvertent flag because the ball was deflected at the line of scrimmage. Good call, good observation there, David. That is the case. So decision time for the Indians, and they've already made the decision. They're going to kick it away.
And again, that's not the back judge. That's tough for him to see if that ball is deflected. His eyes are on the wide receiver and the defender. He didn't know the ball was deflected, so a good job getting together and getting the right call.
Hayden Franklin to kick it away. Moderate pressure by Pearl River, but the Wildcats will not try to field this one.
And Pearl River really, Kelly, had a lot more. That was almost a punt safe. On a 4th down and 1, you could have thought very easily that they could have pulled a little trickery out right there to try to convert that and keep possession. Coach Ted Egger was very happy to let them punt that football away, tell his guy, we'll take the ball back and maybe try to get a drive going right there. I think that they were not really intent on blocking that. They were just intent on defending the play and not allowing a trick play to catch them off guard.
Just like Ted Egger, the head coach of the Indians, Sean Cannon, double dips as the defensive coordinator for the Indians. So both head coaches finding it difficult to put down that DC title as well. But now it's up to Ryan Trevathan and the offense for Pearl River to get going here. It is a 27-14 lead, but any points here would make it further troublesome for Itawamba. Justin Mary, the tight end, with a catch up at the 48-yard line. He got drilled immediately. Making the tackle is Cortez Davis. But again, the tight end out of Oak Grove with a big catch and has the River Cats up near midfield.
Don't want to nitpick here, Kelly, but you might want to throw that ball a little more on the line because, boy, he lofted it and allowed the two defenders to close. Mary took a big shot but held on for the 19-yard gain.
Play action. Now Callus throws toward the sideline, and this ball is intercepted.
Wow, the intended receiver was really knocked off of his route right there, but no call on that play. And really, again, Callus threw it up when he shouldn't have thrown it up. And just like that, Itawamba chooses to punt the football, and the defense cashes in on that decision to punt it away by coming up with the first interception of the night thrown by Callus, the first turnover of the night committed by Pearl River. And Itawamba, again, that momentum is on their side, starting in Pearl River territory with a chance to get this back to a one-score game.
I think he may have been trying to get it out of bounds, but was just off balance enough that he couldn't get enough mustard on it and was snagged and taken the other way. 1st and 10 now. Unruh with an empty backfield. Passes toward the sideline, incomplete at about the 25, but that is on the receiver, Roderick McLeod, the freshman out of Clay Chalkville High School in Pinson, Alabama, because that was a great pass that he just was not able to come down with. 2nd down and 10. The clock is stopped with 3:11 left to go in the third.
Unruh has not been accurate for most of this ball game. Right there he was, but these numbers are starting to get to be really ugly. Unruh now 5 of 21 with the interception so far for 66.
2nd down and 10. Unruh again continues to backtrack. That's usually the sign of a screen. Screen is set up. Blockers out ahead. Breaking free down the sideline and into the end zone. That's an Itawamba touchdown. No flags anywhere. Uh-oh.
I believe that was Dinkins on the reception. And, Kelly, that was a great reception because the pass was high. Not only did he have to go up and get it with one hand, then he broke a tackle almost immediately. But once he did that, tightrope walking his way down the sidelines, and once he got about 5 to 10 yards down the field, the only thing left was green grass in front of him.
Well, the plot thickens here at Dobie Holden with 2:56 left to go in the third quarter. Not only is this now a one-possession game, but if the Indians can thread the needle here, a touchdown and an extra point would win it.
The special teams now, you didn't think that they were going to play that big of a role, but now the missed extra points are really looming large in this ball game for Pearl River, and the missed field goal.
Caleb Comer to get the Indians within 6. The kick is up, and it is good. 2:56 left to go in the third. Pearl River 27, Itawamba 21. Back in a moment, you're watching Wildcat football on PRCCmedia.com.
It's another exciting year as we support the Golden Eagle team.
We're all in for Southern Miss football.
How about you?
You'll find the best teams for customer service and price.
At Pine Belt Chevrolet, Courtesy Ford, and Pine Belt Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. From tough trucks to your favorite SUVs to performance and fun.
We're all in
for you.
Southern Miss to the top.
27-21. Pearl River with the lead, and now the Wildcats, as we used to say in the old days, have got to tighten up a little bit here as the offense will get the football back. But now, when just moments ago it was a 3-possession game, it's all of a sudden down to a 1-possession game. And the Pearl River offense has got to respond here. The defense getting a little bit weary.
How about that decision to punt on 4th and 1? Not take the bait, not go for it and maybe give Pearl River the football back. You punt it away. 2 plays later, you get an interception as Itawamba, and then 2 plays later, you cash it in for a score.
Comer's kick will be fielded on the run at about the 15-yard line. Coming to the near side of the field for the Wildcats is TJ Wash. Wash across the 30, but a late marker comes down on the far side of the field. That usually goes against the return team.
A couple of players tangled up, basically.
TJ Wash, the freshman running back out of Scott Central. No indication yet from our referee, Robert Eakins.
Man, this Itawamba, I know we're broadcasting on the Pearl River stream, but just as a fan, you got to give Itawamba a lot of credit. I mean, you're down 20 with 10 minutes to go in the second quarter on the road. You've given up 27 consecutive points to a packed house that's all fired up, and they basically kind of got their sea legs under them and kept it there to the half, and now they've cashed in here in the third quarter. They're 1 play away from taking the lead.
It was a block in the back against Pearl River, so the Wildcats go backward to the 20-yard line, 1st and 10. I failed to mention that, too. A really terrific crowd here on hand tonight for the opener, which openers are always special, but you'd expect they'll be hanging from the rafters next week when East Mississippi comes to town. Hand off to Ron Thompson, and he is stuffed at the line of scrimmage. No gain. In there on the tackle was Atarius Moore, the sophomore linebacker from Calhoun City. There's a lot of Calhoun City players on this Itawamba team.
Ron Thompson had 2 carries back-to-back that totaled 139 yards in the first quarter. Since then, Kelly, only 10 carries for 30 yards as Itawamba has absolutely bottled him up since those 2 huge runs.
So Itawamba has made some changes too. Callus throws to the sideline and the pass is nearly caught at the 44, but incomplete. The intended receiver is KJ Breland. And on these drives too, Captain D, not only have the Wildcats sputtered a little bit offensively, but they're not burning any clock either. And normally you could live with one if you get the other.
Well, now, though, Kelly, with the 2 scores on there, there's 17 minutes left in this ball game. You know, the clock is not even anywhere near a factor at the moment. The Wildcats need a first down. I mean, it's been a while since they've been able to move the sticks.
3rd down and about 12. The Wildcat fans imploring Pearl River to come up with a play here. Callus wants the football. Steps up, throws it across the middle, has a receiver, it's caught at the 45-yard line. What a grab by KJ Breland.
Boy, the wide receivers have let some balls drop that they should not have. That was a very difficult catch, and oh, how important was that one, Kelly? 37 yards, and they needed every one of them. Finally a first down for Pearl River. Maybe some momentum moving forward to get some points on the board and give them a little bit of elbow room.
Ron Thompson, he puts into motion. Now Callus looking for Thompson. Thompson not looking for the football. I think a busted play there. That Callus plunged across the 40 to the 39-yard line. Well, they'll spot it at the 40.
Yeah, Callus doing everything he could to make something out of nothing right there. He ends up picking up 2 on the play. It's 2nd down and 8. And again, Pearl River on the move late in the third quarter, needing a score right here.
Oh, the Indians jump offside, and we've got flags coming down.
One of the Pearl River, I think the right tackle, he did move, but I don't know if the referee was going to call that.
Callus thinks that it's against the Indians.
Yeah, I don't think by the way that when the whistle came that he saw that little bit of a rock and that little bit of movement was enough for the Itawamba defender. It wasn't like it drew him off sides, Kelly. What it did was you see the defender just go up and touch, just touch the offensive guy trying to, hey, let's give me my 5 yards, but it went the other way. A big break for Pearl River right there.
So 2nd down and 3. 1:19 left to go in the third quarter. Pearl River 27, Itawamba 21. Wildcat cheerleaders right down here in front of us on the sideline, holding up signs that say noise and trying to keep the fans engaged here as Pearl River has seen a big lead evaporate. Callus throws to the sideline, incomplete. It might have been a backward pass. Now the officials say incomplete. But have you seen how Cooper Callus has kind of been dropping down and throwing, almost passing the ball sidearm?
When he has airmailed these, especially to the side, Kelly, on these lateral passes. Number one, again, I am no quarterback expert here as far as mechanics are concerned, but he's throwing it flat-footed, number one. And absolutely, Kelly, he's dropping his arm angle. It's like a pitcher.
Right.
It's like a pitcher who goes high sometimes. He's dropping his arm angle, and it's causing the ball to float on him. He's not done it once or twice, Kelly. That's at least the fourth or fifth time we've seen that.
And Tavis Williams comes into the ball game now. Williams throws toward the end zone. He's got a receiver at the 4-yard line, in and out of the hands of K.J. Breland, who had broken free by a couple of yards, but couldn't pull it down. And that'll bring up 4th down and about 3.
And again, Kelly, I think they're in no man's land. They're going to go for it. Kelly, that's one of those that would have been a nice catch, but it should have been made. I mean, the ball was on his hands. If you're a receiver, if you say, hey, I'll give you one step on the defender and the ball on your fingertips, they take that every time, but the ball fell incomplete. That's a big, big miss there for Pearl River.
4th down and 3. Do the Wildcats maybe try a hard count here and try to get the Indians to jump off sides, or do they really run the play? No, they're going to run it. Callus dumps it out. The pass is caught inside the 35, down to about the 32-yard line. It'll depend on the spot.
Yeah, depend on the spot. Is the
Donovan Hickman made the catch.
Just slipped and fell as the Wildcats basically set up an old-fashioned pick play right there. No flag was thrown, but this is right on the sticks. It's going to depend on the spot, on the slip and fall from Hickman.
Under normal circumstances, had Hickman been able to stay on his feet, it would have been an easy 1st down. But again, because of that thunderstorm that came through about 5:15, the field has been slick. Of course, the Wildcats think they got it. The Indians think that they were able to hold.
This is critical.
Oh, man, and how?
If you're Pearl River, you get the 1st down. You basically have one play left in the 3rd quarter, and you're on the move to get back to a 2-score lead. If you're Itawamba, if you can get the stop right here, you're one play away from taking the lead.
I don't know that he got it, Captain D. Oh, my. By the nose, he got the 1st down.
Kelly, the 2 white stripes on the football, it wasn't even by the stripe.
No.
It was by the leather between the white stripe and the nose, but it doesn't matter for the Wildcat fans. That was a big couple of inches on the spot right there as Hickman got just enough for the 1st down.
Good thing the stitching on that ball was bad. Pearl River gets a 1st down at the 32-yard line of Itawamba with 41 seconds left to go here in the 3rd quarter. Callus, play action, tries to find somebody, can't, and wanted to get away, but then is dropped back at the 40-yard line. The pursuit has been consistent tonight. Calmorris Robinson, the sophomore linebacker out of Noxubee County, where they know a little bit about football, makes the tackle. Loss of about 7 on the play. Brings up a 2nd down. And I'm not sure that Pearl River will snap it again before the end of the quarter, and they will not. So 3 in the books here at Dobie Holden. It's Pearl River 27, Itawamba 21. Back with the exciting 4th quarter after this timeout. You're watching Pearl River Wildcat football on PRCCmedia.com.
Hey, I'm Delana Harris from Pearl River Community College, and like football, life takes a great game plan, the right tools and equipment, and having an encouraging coach always helps.
At PRCC, we have full academic offerings for the first 2 years of college and over 40 career and technical education programs.
With personalized advising and a student-instructor ratio of 17-1, creating your game plan for success is easy.
So come join our team at Pearl River Community College and enroll with the Maroon and Gold.
Trying to get some points here to lengthen a 6-point lead and give the defense a little bit of breathing room. Kelly Sander along with Captain D. David Sutton. Glad that you're with us on PRCC Media. Our HD signal with the beautiful new Jumbotron scoreboard. The toughest league in America, the MAC JC. Itawamba last year, finishing 6-3 on the year, but only having lost 1 game in the North. Pearl River just 1 game away from a playoff berth last year.
Kelly, in that 3rd quarter, oddly enough, the total yardage was about the same, although Itawamba's yards seemed to be a lot more critical and important than PRCC's. 119 for Pearl River, 112 for Itawamba, but the running game is dried up for Pearl River, only 7 yards rushing in that third quarter.
Callus rolls to his right, throws across the middle. This ball is intercepted at the 20-yard line and trying to get to the outside, but slipping is Jaquan Williams, the freshman defensive back out of Kosciuszko.
Well, in the first half, Kelly, Pearl River, 2 turnovers forced. One of them was a score by the defense. In the second half, it's completely flipped. Now 2 turnovers, both on interceptions by Cooper Callus. That was a very ill-advised pass. Just didn't see the defender who was playing center field back there. And the Wildcats moving the football, give away a possession right there. 14:50, basically the entirety left of the fourth quarter. Itawamba now with the football and a chance to take the lead back.
Conditioning is so important to any football team, and you have to wonder if at any point that the Pearl River defense, which seemingly has been on the field a lot here in the second half, would begin to wear down. 1st and 10. Pass across the middle. Wide open is a receiver at the 50-yard line, getting down to about the 40, making the catch there on the pass from Unruh is Hiram Wadlington. Wadlington they use as a receiver and as a running back.
31 yards on the pickup, and just like that, across the into Pearl River territory at the 39-yard line.
Unruh again wants to throw. This pass is caught. Jamel Thomas, this time out of Caledonia, makes the reception and a gain of 8. So Unruh just making very quick drops and quick passes. We've gotten the football down to the 31-yard line, even though there is 14-16 left. The Indians moving down the field in what looks like a 2-minute drill. On second down, Unruh again. Lofts this one down the sideline. This ball is incomplete.
And Kelly, that should have been pass interference. Again, my opinion, but the defensive back never turned around for the football, made contact. I mean, it's like, check. Did he turn around for the football? No. Was the pass catchable? Yes. And did he make contact with the receiver? Yes. 1, 2, 3. He got away with all 3 of those strikes. That's a huge break for Pearl River.
3rd down and 2. This is the part of the field where you know Itawamba will go for it on 4th down if they need to. And, of course, Wildcat fans hoping that the Wildcat defense will force them to. It's a handoff. Look out. Wide open hole. Deshaun Dinkins into the end zone. And Itawamba is a place kick away from taking the lead.
And, Kelly, I think you called it. A couple of plays, I should say, too early. Will the Pearl River defense begin to kind of run out of gas and wear down? I think that was a play. It's the first time basically the entire game there's been that much room on any run for Itawamba. That one, a 31-yard scamper for the tying score with the extra point to follow.
Caleb Comer to try to give the Indians the lead. It's blocked. And that's kind of the way this game has gone. Tied with 13:51 left to go in the ball game. 27 for each team. Back in a moment. You're watching Wildcat football on PRCCmedia.com.
Southern Miss to the top. Let's go Eagles!
It's another exciting year as we support the Golden Eagle team.
We're all in for Southern Miss football.
How about you? You'll find the best teams for customer service and price at Pine Belt Chevrolet, Courtesy Ford, and Pine Belt Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. From tough trucks to your favorite SUVs to performance and fun, we're all in for you.
Southern Miss to the top.
Well, I think it was Hermits and then the Carpenters that later sang a kind of hush all over the world. The hush right now is over Dobie Holden Stadium as the Itawamba Indians have come out in the second half and have tied this football game against a lot of odds.
Well, the message from Pearl River has to be simply this. Guys, it's the fourth quarter. We got a tie football game. You know, if we were in the locker room and said, hey, we'll go into the fourth quarter tied up, do we want to win the game or not? As a football player and a competitor, every one of them would have said, let's go and let's go after it. But again, you've got to kind of take that mentality and forget the fact. It doesn't matter how it got tied. It's 27-27. The offense has got to get out there, put a drive together, and get the lead back. The only negative thing is you just got a feeling that you can't rely on the kicking game to get you a three-pointer if you need it. It's going to have to be via the touchdown.
And I wonder who Pearl River will send to quarterback this time, if Tavis Williams might be the guy. Cooper Callus has struggled here in the second half. Kick is away. Will be fielded at about the 7-yard line. Looking for some blocking, and running up ahead is Wash. Wash to the far side is tripped up at the 25-yard line. I think forward progress will get him to the 25, and that's where Pearl River will start 1st and 10.
And Callus is 13 of 27 for 146 in the ball game. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but those 2 interceptions, huge. Both interceptions have been followed by touchdowns. The ensuing drive after both turnovers have led to touchdowns, and that's why this football game is tied.
Well, Cooper Callus comes out at quarterback again with 13:43 left to go. In a football game that really looked like a Pearl River win, and could still be, but an easy Pearl River win. A handoff over right side, nothing there for Thompson as he is stacked up for no gain on the play. Making the tackle there is Keyshawn Parker, the freshman linebacker out of guess where? Calhoun City.
I mean, Kelly, in the first quarter, Pearl River had 139 yards rushing the football. Since then, Pearl River has 25 yards rushing the football. Itawamba has absolutely shut down the running game of the Wildcats.
2nd down and 11. He didn't even get back to the line of scrimmage. Callus wants to throw. Does, and incomplete. He tried to lead Donovan Hickman, the tight end, but you know, a little bit further down the field, Tyler Polk was wide open, the wide receiver, but tried to hit the short man. And kind of doing the second base slide was Hickman to try to make the catch, but could not do so. It stops the clock and brings up a 3rd down and 11 for Pearl River.
Part of that second base slide, Kelly, was that had he stayed upright, he probably could have made the catch initially. But let me tell you something. He was lined up to get his helmet knocked off, and he kind of took the low route just to kind of save himself on that one.
Callus again wants to throw, but gets away from one man and pulled down. The ball then came loose, but I think he was down. The ball was forced out of his hands by the ground when he was tackled.
Kelly, I could be wrong right here, but I'm going to tell you what. That initial spot by the referee was short, but he got bumped as they were chasing the ball, and when he came back to the spot, I think he's got it on the 35-yard line. I think the Wildcats may get this after all. It is really close, and they do.
Well, how about that?
Again.
So by the stitch of a football a couple of series ago.
I tell you, Kelly, the initial spot was a half a yard short, but the referee got kind of run over in that chase for the football when the defense thought it was a fumble, and when he came back, his foot went a little bit more forward. The Wildcats might have got a break, but it's an 11-yard huge scramble by Cooper Callus to move the sticks.
Twin receivers to the near side of the field for the River, single to the far side. On a 1st down and 10. Callus again wants to throw, puts it to the sideline. The pass is caught at the 40. Then lowering his head and trying to get some more yardage is Hayden Bryce, the freshman out of St. Joe's.
It's a good job by Bryce. It's the second time he's caught a ball relatively short down the field, but he's just kind of bulled his way forward almost via like a running back would and made it into a nice gain. The first catch of the night was for 9. That was for 8.
Wisely protected the football as well after making the catch. Ron Thompson darts to the right, then back to the left. He got smoked, but not until he got inside Pearl River checked that Itawamba territory at about the 47. Making the tackle there for the Indians was Cortez Davis, the sophomore defensive back out of Flowery Branch, Georgia.
It's really the first run of any significance Thompson's had since those big runs in the first half, but that one was a nice one. As you said, into Indian territory, 11:30 and counting with a chance to take the lead back.
And with competence breeds confidence. You hope that the Wildcats offense can have something good happen here. Callus on the direct snap, looking for blockers out front, cuts to the inside, and Callus escorts himself out of bounds at about the 34-yard line. Cooper Callus maybe not being effective with the arm, but puts the legs into employment and has a big run there and a Pearl River first down.
You know, Kelly, he had 10 carries for -7 yards. Now, again, some of that sacks, but not real effective right there. He looked like a champ. I mean, following his blockers, I mean, that was a clinic on how to let your blockers seal people off. Not once, but twice, 12 yards on the pickup. The Pearl River offense is on the move.
1st and 10 from the 34. Callus wants to throw, puts it down across the middle. He's got a receiver, and we've got a penalty marker all over the place here.
Definite contact there.
Interfered with the play was the wide receiver Hayden Bryce across the middle.
Absolute contact right around the 4 or 5 yard line. And again, it's the college rule is 15 yards. And look, the bottom line is if you're a defensive back and you're beat, it's almost better to do what he did and, live to see another day, especially with a team that can't make a field goal at the moment. Go ahead and make them earn it, and that's exactly what happened, but it's 15 yards and a first down.
Thompson split to the left of Callus. The Indians jump offside. The ball is loose, and the Indians have it.
And there's no flag right now on the play. Everyone's waiting for the flag, and there isn't one.
It looks like there was some motion on the other side of the line that the Indians and the Wildcats are saying, wait a minute, they came across the line. Imploring the official there for Pearl River is Ivory Scott, the sophomore tackle.
Huge no call. 3rd turnover of the half for Pearl River. The last 2 have resulted in Itawamba touchdowns. This one could come back to haunt them big time.
10 minutes, 49 seconds left to go in regulation. I say regulation because we're tied at 27. Spencer Unruh back at quarterback. Unruh wants to pass, rolls to his right, slips and falls, and down he goes at the 5 yard line.
17-yard loss, Kelly, and a huge. This defense has really been on its heels and reeling. That's a huge play right there to put the Itawamba Indians well behind the sticks. The Pearl River defense has got to take advantage of this.
That was Jamerick Waller, the defensive lineman, the sophomore out of Poplarville High School right here in town.
That's a 17-yard loss.
And they are way back there now. And this time it is Bell at quarterback. Calls his own number. And the ball comes loose there. The Wildcats have it. Pearl River has the football at about the 15-yard line.
Maybe a little bit of karma right there. Just kind of the yin and the yang, because I still say when they look at that back on the film work that probably Itawamba got a break on that fumble a moment ago. But a great sack to put Itawamba almost in the shadow of its own goalpost. They tried to actually play it safe with just a simple quarterback draw, but the ball is stripped free from LaDerrick Bell, and the next thing you know, in the Red Burrito red zone with a chance once again to take the lead, it's Pearl River. Pearl River hadn't put any points on the board since the 10:52 mark to go of the second quarter. And, Kelly, it's not because they hadn't had opportunities. This one, you almost feel they've got to cash this one in.
Red Burrito inside of the Hardee's restaurant here in Poplarville. Don't forget your student ID for a discount every day. Callus takes the snap, rolls to his right, throws back across his body, and the man was open, but he slipped and fell. Ron Thompson, who had snuck out of the backfield over that direction, was there. But Callus, who beautifully threw one to Justin Mary like that earlier in the game for a touchdown, was a little bit shy there. Incomplete, and here comes Tavis Williams.
Yeah, earlier they used that play. Now, again, it was much closer. It was from the 4-yard line, so the pass wasn't as long. But right there, had he just been able to get enough muscle behind that one, would have been a touchdown.
9:46 left to go in regulation. Tavis Williams now, the Pearl River quarterback. Gives and goes to Ron Thompson. Thompson inside the 15, gets down to about the 13-yard line before he was wrestled down by Camoris Robinson, the sophomore out of Noxubee County.
And Kelly, again, because we've got viewers bouncing in and out, some that have been with us the whole time already know this, but Pearl River, 1 of 3 on PATs, has missed a 26-yard field goal. Normally, when you're at the 14-yard line, you might just play it safe, send your field goal unit out and take the lead. Pearl River probably thinking they've got to get a first down and try to keep this ball here on 3rd and 9.
Tavis Williams, the terrifically athletic quarterback out of Harrison Central, where Patrick Garvin was his offensive coordinator down there. Williams rolls to his right, can't find anybody, still looks, now tucks it inside and will run out of bounds, it looks like at about the 13.
And you wonder if they send the field goal unit out, do they try Mosley? Because Mosley has kicked in practice before, but it does look like they're going to go ahead and send William Lang back out to try to take the lead.
His teammates kind of giving him a pat there. Joseph Daniels, the sophomore linebacker out of Bonneville, Louisiana, saying, come on, kid, you can make this. It'll be placed at the 19-yard line out of the hold of Max Crawford.
And Kelly, if he makes this, the confidence level would soar. If he missed, this is a huge kick just for his own confidence level, much less to take the lead.
The placement's down. Lang's kick is up, and it is
hits
good.
The upright and goes through. Hit the right upright and carry him the correct way.
He's not exactly walking off the field as if he had just made a lead field goal, but it's kind of like when it comes to prom, she might not be the prettiest thing, but at least she's a date, or vice versa.
I was going to go like Minnesota Fats, just a bank shot right there.
It's good for 3 points. That's what counts with 8:51 left to go.
It's kind of like a bloop single. Looks like a line drive in the scorebook the next day. Nobody will know.
Well, when I said she might not be pretty, but she's a date, I had to say vice versa because I'm not exactly the best-looking dude around either.
Neither one of us, buddy. Neither one of us.
Thank goodness that women are so, have
charitable at some times.
Yes, indeed. 8:51 left to go. Pearl River ready to kick it away, and they have regained the lead, 30-27. The last night of the NFL exhibition season tonight. All the NFL games start a week from tonight. The NFL season officially underway a week from tonight. How are your fantasy teams? You like them so far, Captain?
Oh, man. None of them have lost. Every pick looks good, just like every year. And then you ask me a month from now, and I
was going to say you're always undefeated this time of year.
That's right.
Aren't you?
My David Johnson pick was such a great one for at least 2 quarters last year until he went out for the season. Yeah, it was great.
Mosley to kick it away for Pearl River. It's a great thunderous boot that comes to the near sideline at about the 5. Trying to come in and breaks a couple of tackles. On the return for Itawamba is Austin Watkins, the wide receiver out of Tupelo. Gets up to the 25-yard line, and that's where they'll start 1st and 10 with 8:43 left to go in regulation. Hey, baseball players, you can't, particularly if you're in junior high, don't forget the Pearl River Baseball Junior High Fall Camp coming up September 4th through the 25th. Great way to play some fall ball and get some great instruction from the coaches from the state champions here at Pearl River. That's September 4th through the 25th. All the activity at the Dub here on the PRCC campus for grades 5 through 9. You can register online at prccbaseballcamps.com. That's PRCC Baseball Camps online for fall ball here at the River. 1st and 10. Unruh wants to throw. Has his man. And swinging it out of the backfield there is Deshaun Dinkins. Dinkins only got about 2 yards on the play before he was wrestled to the ground there by Joseph Daniels.
Good defensive play right there, too, because Dinkins, boy, we've seen him. When he gets into space, he really can make a big play happen, but only 2 on the pickup there.
2nd down and 8. Clock moving with 8:15 left to go. Fakes the handoff and then throws again out into the right flat, but too quickly for the likes of Austin Watkins, who didn't see it coming. That stops the clock. 3rd down and 8 coming up. As we check the Anderson Design Center scoreboard, Gulf Coast has shut out Delta 52-0. East Mississippi has beaten Hines 50-0. JCJC leading Coahoma 35-0. That's in the 3rd quarter. Southwest and Northeast have a good one going on in Summit. Southwest leading Northeast 33-28. Colin over Holmes 24-20. And Northwest has beaten East Central 28-24.
Pass was complete as they got to the line right at the sticks. No, he was out of bounds, Kelly. He made the catch, but they said his feet were out of bounds. So the Pearl River defense has held by about the tip of a toenail there, as right on the sidelines, the catch was not made.
Hayden Franklin in to kick it away at about the 12-yard line. Back to retrieve it is Savaris Snow. Snow telling everybody to back away from it and just let it go. It's down at about the 33 or 34-yard line, so Pearl River will have it there with 7:59 left to go in the game. The Wildcats protecting a 30-27 lead. Holmes and Colin having a great battle. Holmes has defeated Colin 29-28. At home, the Bulldogs beat Colin 29-28.
Well, you get 3 blowouts, and then they're either one way or the other, aren't they, Kelly? They're either absolute blowouts or they're nail biters in the Mac Jack tonight.
Well, we've got a good one here on the sweep for the Wildcats. It's Tyler Polk. Got away from the original pursuit, but then it looked like he got out of bounds further upfield, but maybe he was ruled down back here at about the 31, and that is the call.
You know, that play has become real popular. That's actually a catch because it's a little pitch forward. And the reason that the teams are doing that, instead of handing it off, if the ball's fumbled, it's a fumble. But if the ball's dropped on that little pitch, it's an incomplete pass. A little bit safer play for the offense.
Now, back in the day, back when I was growing up, that was called a Utah pitch, because the University of Utah liked to run that play a lot. Callus with that sidearm pass is incomplete. Of course, had Ron Thompson made the catch, he was going to take a mighty lick there, because they're ready to put one on him was Kewan Lankin, the freshman defensive lineman from Cleveland Central.
Of course, if you're a Pearl River fan, you were kind of hoping, hey, let's put together a few first downs here, make them at least burn some timeouts. But instead, a quick pitch forward down for a 3-yard loss, and then an incompletion. Looks like Itawamba might get a 3-and-out.
Tavis Williams in the quarterback. Williams wants to try to run, does get outside, and got about 6 yards or 7 yards on the play, but the Wildcats are still 8 yards short after that loss. And the punting unit comes in.
And the defense of Itawamba, boy, you got to give them a lot of credit, Kelly.
Yeah, and you got to remember, this is all after about a 5.5-hour bus ride.
Yeah, 27 points they gave up. I mean, you could have been shell-shocked giving up 27 points. And remember, Pearl River's first score came with 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. So it was only over about an 8 or 9 minute game time limit. They got hit for 27 points mixed in with a defensive score. But since then, only a ricocheted field goal is the difference.
Pearl River didn't have everybody set, so this will go against the River, but Itawamba making the return up to about the 40-yard line. My guess is the penalty will be against Pearl River, and then on the return,
another penalty.
Yeah, the Wildcats are going to get hit with something on the return here, and it might have been a late hit.
Kelly, I think Southwest is going to get to tack on the 5 yards, and if they call that a dead ball late hit, they're going to get 20 yards of penalties out of this and move the ball from their own 40 to the Pearl River 40 to start this drive with 6:07 to go, only needing a field goal to tie.
So again, the plot thickens here at Dobie Holden. We got started late tonight by about 45 minutes because of a late afternoon thunderstorm, but it's been a fun ball game to watch. They're declining the penalty against Pearl River not being set, but they are going to take the personal foul.
So it must have been the personal foul must have been during the play. It might have been an unnecessary roughness of some kind, a face mask of some kind, but so only, I guess if you want to look at the glass half full, only 15 yards of penalties against Pearl River instead of 20. But either way, Itawamba starting in Pearl River territory, only needing a first down or 2 to be in field goal range to tie.
1st and 10 for Itawamba. Spencer Unruh, the sophomore quarterback. He's 6 feet 4 inches tall. Hands it off. Trying to find some running room there is Hiram Wadlington, who's been invaluable to Itawamba tonight, both as a running back and as a receiver out of the backfield. Only got a couple on the play. Starting to get into the time on the clock where you really start worrying for both teams. 5:43 and counting. Pearl River with a 3-point lead.
We have neither team taking a timeout either, so both teams with their full complement of timeouts here in the late going.
Unruh drops back to throw, has time, throws, and this pass is caught at the 35-yard line. The Wildcats are saying that he did not make the catch.
But he did.
And really upset for Pearl River, saying otherwise. Marshall Cosma, the defensive back. But it is a first down for the Indians at the 35-yard line. And you can think that the Indians won't settle for a field goal, that they're thinking touchdown all the way.
Want a touchdown and an extra point would make it to where Pearl River would have to score a touchdown to tie. To win the ball game.
Handoff. Wadlington gets away from a couple of men, bulldozing his way forward and carrying Wildcats down to the 22-yard line. And Pearl River had it shut down originally at the line of scrimmage.
Wouldn't be surprised to see Ted Eggert take a timeout right here, because in this situation, at the very least, you want to hold them to a field goal attempt here. You just don't want to go down 4 inside of 5 minutes to go with your offense struggling. And a flag out of nowhere with nothing going on.
Yeah, but I think this will go against Pearl River. I think somebody in the defensive backfield for PRC might be running their mouths a little bit. I just kind of reading body language. I hope I'm wrong. But I think this might be an unsportsmanlike.
Dead ball and unsportsmanlike
that's what it is,
against Pearl River. Yeah. So that's a half the distance penalty, Kelly.
Yeah, I was just reading.
You were all over that one.
Well, I was just reading the defensive backfield body language for some of those guys back there, and I think they might have said something that they now regret.
Well, that's 2 major penalties. One on the punt return, now one in a dead ball situation. It's hard enough to stop Itawamba as it is without giving them 15-yard chunks. Now, it is still 1st and 10. They can get a first down right at the 1-yard line, but they are knocking on the door of taking the lead.
Unruh at quarterback to Wadlington. Wadlington just following his blockers, trying to wear down this Pearl River defense a little bit more. Gets down to about the 6-yard line. And if you're Itawamba, what you're thinking is, look, let's take it into the end zone with 2 seconds left.
Yeah, there won't be quite that, but Kelly, you're right. I mean, 30 seconds just melting off the clock between plays here if they want to do it.
On 2nd down, Wildcats, it looked like somebody was moving.
Going to get a penalty in the end zone. It's face guarding again against Pearl River, most likely coming up.
But again, half the guys on the line, both offense and defense, didn't even move because it looked like.
Well, the line judge actually did throw a flag. It's shielded from us, but this might be offsetting.
Might be offsetting, and if it is, it'd be very upsetting for Itawamba because they would have had a.
No, offsides against Pearl River, so they're both against Pearl River. So now the ball is down with the walk-off just outside the first down marker, inside the 5-yard line. Going to be about 2nd down and maybe a long 2, short 3.
The Pearl River defense, which has answered just about every call tonight. But how many can they answer? Handoff up the middle, nowhere to go. Right at about the 5-yard line. Good tackle on the play there by Pearl River's Kyron Norwood. Pearl River fans on their feet, but that clock continues to work. 3:51 left to go.
Well, hopefully there'll be another play of the game here somewhere along the line. But with 3:45 to go, 3rd down and 3 from the 4-yard line, Kelly, this is the play of the game. If Itawamba gets in the end zone, you almost feel like that might be the game-winning score. But if the Pearl River defense can hold, and they're going to talk this over, which doesn't surprise me, but if the Pearl River defense can hold right here, Kelly, and force a field goal attempt, at least it stays 30-30, and again, gives Pearl River's offense a chance to get into scoring range and possibly get the win at the buzzer.
Wow. Not only being physically spent are the players, fans and broadcasters alike emotionally spent here, and it's just the first game of the season. Pearl River will be home next Thursday night. It's 6 o'clock kickoff. against East Mississippi, the #1 team in the nation. And all East Mississippi did tonight was win their home opener against Hines 50-0.
Boy, an evenly matched ball game, Kelly. The Wildcats with 360 yards of offense. Itawamba with 310 yards of offense. Both teams with 3 turnovers. And if they kick a field goal, both teams may have 30 points on the board. Hopefully for Pearl River, that's what it'll be if they can't pull some type of turnover out here on this 3rd down and 3.
Play of the game for the Pearl River defense here. Spencer Unruh at quarterback. It's a good snap. They hand it off inside the end zone. A touchdown for Itawamba. Deshaun Dinkins. They kept trying the middle and the right side of Pearl River, but there they went over to the left side, and it was there for them.
3:24 left on the clock with 3 timeouts. Plenty of time left in the ball game, but this extra point, they blocked the last one. If they were able to somehow get this one to not go through, at least it would keep it at a field goal.
Caleb Comer's kick is good. So now the Wildcats need to score a touchdown with 3:24 left to go in the ball game. It's Itawamba 34, Pearl River 30. Back for the exciting conclusion in a moment. You're watching Wildcat football on PRCCmedia.com.
Hey, I'm Delana Harris from Pearl River Community College, and like football, life takes a great game plan, the right tools and equipment, and having an encouraging coach always helps.
At PRCC, we have full academic offerings for the first 2 years of college and over 40 career and technical education programs.
With personalized advising and a student-instructor ratio of 17-1, creating your game plan for success is easy.
So come join our team at Pearl River Community College and enroll with the Maroon and Gold.
Well, you see the pictures live from Dobie Holden Stadium. One of only 2 games or 3 games still going on in the MACJC, but topsy-turvy action with lead changes all night long. Itawamba now has the lead, 34-30, which, if I'm not mistaken, is just the 2nd time tonight that the Indians have had the lead since very early in this contest.
Yeah, since 7-0. They scored to take the lead 7-0. Pearl River then scored and went for 2 and took it 8-7 and had the lead or been tied ever since.
Well, the Wildcat offense now respond with 3:24 left to go.
They love a big return right here.
Comer's kick taken down by Wash at the 11. Tries to string out the return team for Itawamba, gets up to maybe the 22-yard line where they'll start. 3:16 left to go. Pearl River has its full allotment of timeouts. Itawamba used 1 in that last series to get them down to 2.
And it takes 70. It's just going to take a 79-yard drive. I mean, there's really nothing else.
Is that all?
That's really nothing else to say right here, because
will you take a check?
If you don't, of course they do have all 3 timeouts, but if you don't score on this possession with the clock the way that it is, getting the football back is going to be very difficult, and getting it back with any time left is going to be even harder.
Tavis Williams, a direct snap to the quarterback, wants to run it, turns it up, and maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage.
Actually, I think he was tackled behind the 20, Kelly. I think he lost a couple of yards.
LaKendrick Jones, the freshman linebacker out of Independence High School, with the tackle. That is the call, a loss on the play. So 2nd down and 12 with the clock moving. So Tavis Williams out of Harrison Central High School is very fleet-footed. The Indians are offside, so before this play can develop, Pearl River will get 5 yards. And look, make no mistake, first downs, you got to have some of those. You don't have to hit the home run ball here.
Hey, I remember Brett Favre when he was asked, because he ran a great 2-minute drill, and he said, I wasn't even thinking about scoring. I just wanted to move the change. You keep moving the sticks, and then guess what? You do that 3 or 4 times, you got a chance to score. So that's what the Wildcats need to do here. They need to move a little quicker than they're moving, but they just need to keep moving the sticks and give themselves a chance.
Because the clock is moving.
Yes.
2nd down and 7. 8 seconds left on the play clock. Now down to 5 seconds. Tavis Williams on the handoff. Gives it to Ron Thompson. Thompson gets up ahead to the 35. This will move the chains. Brought down on the play by LaKendrick Jones. 2 minutes and 16. This is your prototypical 2-minute drill. This is what the teams practice all the time. So we'll see how well the Wildcats have perfected it, staring at a 4-point deficit here very late in the game. Handoff to Thompson, left side. Thompson, another ramble of about 14 yards. That'll move the chains again. Great blocking on the left side of the line. Sprung him free.
Well, prototypical in the fact of the time and situation, but they haven't thrown the ball yet. You don't usually see a 2-minute drill run on the ground, but that's what Pearl River has done. Nearly at midfield, they've got a couple of first downs, and they're on the move.
Tavis Williams at quarterback. Williams, again, fakes the handoff and now passes it, and incomplete.
Been a lot of drop passes tonight by the Pearl River receivers.
Donovan Hickman was the intended receiver. The linebacking core for Itawamba bit on the run fake. Didn't look like it would be a big gain. It wasn't the type of play that was designed for a big gain. But 2nd down and 10. The incompletion stops the clock with 1:48 left to go. Pearl River needs a touchdown. A field goal, no good, literally and figuratively. 2nd down. Cooper Callus out of there, high snap. Tavis Williams pulls it down, but the high snap causes him to go down.
And Pearl River needs to use a timeout right here. Clock is moving, and it's 3rd down and forever, and there it is. They needed to burn a timeout to, I mean, you don't have to pick it up all in one play, Kelly, but this is a big play right here. You need to get 8 to 10 of this back to give yourself a chance to keep possession.
Looks like it'll be a 3rd down and about 17 coming up for Pearl River with 1:33 left to go. This crowd who was really into it early and watching some superb work by the Pearl River football team has seen Itawamba take advantage of some second-half turnovers by the River Cats and convert them into points.
And Kelly, going all the way back to the 2nd quarter, I know you'll remember, but even when they were up 27-7, I was saying, boy, in the 2nd quarter, Pearl River started on their 40, on Itawamba's 25, on their 40, and on Itawamba's 47. That was where their 4 possessions started, but they were only able to score 1 single time. And you just kind of felt like, yeah, it's a 20-point lead at the half, but it really could have been a 4 or 5 score ball game, and you kept Itawamba within striking distance, and sure enough, give the Indians a ton of credit. Right now, 93 seconds away. Game ain't over yet, but if they win this was a heck of an effort by the Indians on the road.
3rd down. What play call will Ryan Trevathan go with here for Pearl River with Tavis Williams still at quarterback? Now I think the Indians may have to call one, and they do. I think they wanted to see what maybe the Wildcats came out in very like a basketball game, maybe.
Kelly, you know what? I just did a quick count. There was only 10 men on the field. That's that's what it was. And whoever man number 11, he was getting a little bit of a talking to between the sideline and the numbers as they had called that timeout. So Pearl River nearly got to run the play with only 10 Indians on the field.
Northwest came back to beat East Central tonight, 28-24. As we mentioned, Holmes beat Colin 29-28. Jones having no problem with Coahoma, 35-0 in the 3rd. East Mississippi wins by shutout. Gulf Coast shutout Delta. And at last report, Southwest is leading Northeast 33-28 in the 4th quarter. All of our scores brought to you by Anderson's Design Center. Also thanks to Hardee's Restaurant in Poplarville, also the Red Burrito. Don't forget to use your Pearl River student ID or faculty ID for a discount every single day. Don't forget those Fruit Loop donuts. 3rd down, big play. Tavis Williams throws the ball downfield. Overthrown at about the 20. He had the man open there. Keontae Payton, the sophomore wide receiver out of Brandon. And this is the ball game coming up now.
Yeah,
4th down and long for Pearl River.
Pearl River has a couple of timeouts left, so mathematically, if they don't get the first down here, which is a tough a tough task. At 4th and 17, they could mathematically get the ball back, but this is it. This is your ball game right here. Pearl River's got to convert.
Twin receivers to the near side. Williams gets the football. Not a whole lot of pursuit, but he'll roll to his left and is dragged out of bounds for a minimal gain. The ball will go over on downs, and Itawamba.
That'll be something that Williams will get talked to about, that on 4th down, you might as well throw it up. There's nothing to lose by throwing it down the field. You never know. But when you run like that, the chances of you picking that up, and actually he runs to his left as well. So even if somebody comes open as a right-handed quarterback, that's the worst way to throw the football, running to your left. So with 1:18 to go, Pearl River has 2 timeouts remaining. Theoretically, they could get the football back, but it would be around the 25, 30-second mark with no timeouts remaining.
Spencer Unruh at quarterback. They don't have a safety man back there in case of a bad snap. They'll actually run a play, and running it is Dinkins, and Dinkins probably fell rather than be thrown out of bounds.
Yeah, smart move. Absolutely, Kelly. His momentum was going that way, and if you were a Pearl River fan, you were hoping. Boy, that's a late timeout call, too. Again, it's easier from up here to say this, but once you let the clock run as much as it had, Kelly, you might as well just let them run the play and use the timeouts on 2nd and 3rd down. But what happened there is that you let 8 to 10 seconds run off the clock after the tackle, and then you burn the timeout. So now you run this play and call a timeout. You're at about 56 seconds at best case scenario. Then you run the next play, and 40 more seconds go off. Best case for Pearl River, barring a turnover, is to get the football back with about 10 seconds left now that you let that 10 to 12 seconds go. But either way, the odds would have been pretty much insurmountable. They needed to score on that last drive, and they weren't able to do it.
1 minute and 2 left to go for the record. Itawamba next week will be at home against East Central. Handoff and runs into the roadblock. No gain on the play, and now Pearl River will use its final timeout. One of the Indians kind of struggling to get up there in the defensive back or in the offensive backfield. Having trouble getting to his feet was the freshman offensive lineman Michael Harrison. But Pearl River will be whistled for the timeout. Jones has defeated Coahoma 44-0. So the only 2 games still active right now are this one and the one down in Summit, where Southwest was beating Northeast. East Central has now lost 8 games in a row, and they will take on Itawamba next week up at Itawamba.
Pearl River played a good football game, Kelly. Just the offense just kind of sputtered. After they got the 20-point lead, it kind of went away. And although the defense did give up points, remember, it was 3 turnovers in the second half. It led to 3 scores by Itawamba. I mean, it's if you don't turn even if you were sputtering, if you don't turn the football over, those really sparked Itawamba to this comeback victory is what it looks like with just 57 seconds left.
Well, they say if you don't know anything about football, the one statistic you want to look at are turnovers. And nearly a first down run there. But again, Pearl River cannot stop the clock. So you would expect, if they have to snap it again, that the Indians would just do that.
Not 9-second differential between play clock and game clock. So what you could do is just let it run down to 1 second, call a timeout, and then you might want to just go for it on 4th and 1 if you get it, not to avoid some sort of crazy snap back to your punter of some kind,
or run around in the backfield.
Yeah, they're gonna. I think there's a little too much time for that, but they are going to do. They're going to let it run down to 1, call the timeout. 9.8 seconds left to go. And just decide. I mean, if you go for it and get it, the game's over. If you don't get it, you give Pearl River the football on the 32-yard line with with one play left.
Should Itawamba win this game, and of course the odds would certainly point that direction now, very tough gut check for the Wildcats now after having that 20-point lead.
Yeah, a 20-point. And look, this is not just Pearl River. This is just any generic team. A 20-point lead at home on opening night with a big crowd cheering for you. Probably 80 to 85% of the time you're going to win that football game. And in the end, it just didn't happen. And Pearl River left some scoring opportunities out there, missed a couple of extra points and a field goal. What's 1 + 1 + 3? 5, and you're trailing by 4. So you can look at that. But also the turnovers. The turnovers were the absolute killer for them here in the second half. Those 3 turnovers gave Itawamba the chance to win this football game.
So Itawamba with 9.8 to be precise.
Trying to draw Pearl River off sides.
And they give it.
Dinkins has the first down by a mile, and that'll fittingly for him take him over 100 yards because he had a pretty darn good game running the football, and that'll actually vault him up around the 115 mark, and Itawamba's going to get the victory. Flag on the field. That's just excessive celebration by Itawamba since there's 2 seconds left. But as soon as they blow the ball back into play, the game will be over.
And there won't even be a need to snap it, I don't think.
No, because the tackle was made in play. So the clock will run as soon as they blow the ball ready for play.
Well, coming up at the completion of the ball game here in just a couple seconds, literally, the Pawpaws Campers and Cars postgame show. Pawpaws Campers and Cars, largest retailer of recreational vehicles in the state. Pawpaws Campers and Cars right down the road here in Picayune have always been long-time and proud supporters of the Pearl River Community College Wildcats. In victory formation for Itawamba, a man short. Alex Tripp Brown, the freshman from Louisville, has to get on there.
Don't think it would have mattered, but he's there now.
And we got his name mentioned, so if his parents up in Louisville might be watching. That's the ball game. The final score tonight, Itawamba 34, Pearl River 30. So the long bus ride home for Itawamba won't be for naught as they come up with a big come-from-behind win where offensively, David, as we quickly wrap things up here, is almost a tale of 2 cities offensively for Pearl River, but some good performances along the way. And now Pearl River will get ready for East Mississippi next week. You can follow all the JUCO action in the MACJC at jucoweekly.org, and Pearl River's different social media pages, including Twitter. They've got all sorts of things going on now with Patrick Oakes and Mark Franklin doing a great job keeping up to date as to what's going on here on campus. But this one you kind of took to the gut tonight. This one was tough.
Yeah, some losses are worse than others. Now again, this in the grand scheme of things, Kelly, this is a non-conference loss. That's the first game of the season, and it means nothing as far as Pearl River's hopes for a playoff spot. But we were talking with Coach Ted Egger before the game, and he kind of confirmed that first game. He said it last year, the first game is so important. It sets the tone. You win that first game, everything you've worked for in the offseason is kind of solidified, and the kids can buy into, hey, we won the game. Everything we did was worth it, and you're up 20 at home. Sometimes you lose a game and you go, it just wasn't our night. Man, when you're up 20 at home, you feel like that's a game we got to have, and they let it slip away. And there are, in general terms from my analysis position, the biggest concern that I have with this team is the special teams. In these close ball games, you've got to have, obviously the team, the team that has a weapon at field goal kicker has an advantage. It's simple as that. Now, again, it's not as if William Lang he made the last one. It did ricochet in, but he made the go-ahead field goal. Hopefully that'll give him a little confidence moving forward. But the bottom line is hopefully he can build on that and move forward, because you really need that part of your game. Hey, they say 3 phases. Oh, the special teams mean a whole lot. And tonight they made a big difference. As far as the offense is concerned, obviously a little bit troubling that they really kind of sputtered for quite a while there, but the bottom line is 3 turnovers. You got those are correctable. You got to correct those, and they are correctable. And the quarterback, Cooper Callus, he's going to go back and he's going to look on that tape and he's going to go, he missed some throws, and the receivers missed some catches. So you tighten things up a little bit with a little bit better accuracy. You tighten things up a little bit with the wide receivers making a few more catches. You get rid of those turnovers, and all of a sudden this offense can look pretty potent, because for a quarter and change there, they really had it rolling in the right direction. So I think the offensive stuff is fixable. The defense, although 34 points are on the board, they got a little tired because they were out there quite a bit in the second half. I thought the defensive performance was at least a B, if not a B+. And then again, of course, the special teams, that's the thing. Hopefully that can improve, and it will, but hopefully it'll improve quickly, especially going into the South Division schedule.
Itawamba defeats Pearl River 34-30. The Wildcats will be home next Thursday for the big game with Last Chance U, the #1 team in the nation. East Mississippi comes calling for a scheduled 6 o'clock start. We'll have the game for you live in HD here on PRCCmedia.com. Again, for our producers, Patrick Oakes and Mark Franklin, I'm Kelly Sander. For color analyst, Captain D. David Sutton. Thanks for joining us. Pearl River Wildcat Football is a production of PRCCmedia.com.